Welcome to the fourth episode of Rated PG for Politics and Games. We're back with our newest episode, and this time we actually have a fancy opening. Credit to Yotsuba, our mysterious third member who is not on the show today because he's trying to make more animations for us. And this is our weekly. I mean, it's supposed to be weekly. We missed the last week, but that doesn't matter. It's our weekly news podcast where we cover news ranging from world news, politics, games, tech news, and all that stuff. Everything condensed, all the important stuff condensed into one podcast. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the new intro. So, Crimson, introduce yourself. Or do you want to roll again?
I'm a friend of Aces. My name is Crimson. Do I have to do my credentials again?
Sure, do it.
Let's see. I'm a recent graduate from U of R here in Rochester with a master's degree in electrical engineering, and I did my undergraduate as a biomedical engineer as well. So,
so we got an engineer.
I might lend a perspective or two, but I look forward to doing this podcast.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, our main credentials are we are both anime girls. We are 2D, legit. Trust us.
What's the real world?
Yep, I am a recent graduate with recent master's graduate in computer science. I did environmental science for my bachelor. So, yeah, I guess we have some credentials.
We both don't get out. Yeah, we don't get out.
What? Get out
We're
of
shut-ins. Oh, we're shut-ins. Who needs anything but the your computer chair and the silence of your monitor?
No, we are stuck inside the monitor. We are 2D. We're just wallpaper on wallpaper engine on some weeb's computer. Trust. That's how it works. But yes.
Let's just move on.
Yep. So we got the new things we got the opening, which is fantastic. Thanks to Yotsuba. And also we are now on all the big podcast platforms. We are on Beaker, Google Podcast, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. And I think we're also on iTunes, or if that's still processing. All thanks to Anchor. You can go visit us on anchor.fm/Wizkidace. The links are in the description so that you can listen to us, our Quincy podcast, on any of your favorite platforms if that makes the pain more bearable. All right, so the first news we got is environmental news. The topic we're going to go through is environment and climate. And the first article we got is from Science Alert. And the article basically talks about how the current heat wave being experienced in Siberia would be almost impossible if climate change wasn't real. What the article is basically talking about is, well, there are like 38 degrees Celsius highs in Siberia this year, and a lot of forest fires, melting ice, all that jazz. And thanks to more advanced models, that were trying to analyze the weather and climate in Siberia. Scientists are they're pretty much certain that all of this amount of temperature increase was certainly because of human influence, that is carbon emissions. You got anything to add, Crimson?
Not much.
I mean, like, no matter how much data we have, how much research we have, like something like 96% of all scientists agree that anthropogenic climate change is real. But no matter how much data we have, everything, it's like, well, it's not certain, it might be aliens causing climate change. It's not real. Earth is flat. We hear those arguments time and time again.
People need to stop bickering over what the cause is, and we need to.
It's not just a cause. It's just like, even if it's happening.
Because people don't even. Well, I feel like a lot more people are accepting that climate change is a thing, but they often undersell it. They think it's just like, oh, it's just a teeny bit warmer, nothing big, or they don't. It's like it's what do you call it? A progression. on one hand, you have people that don't believe it at all, and the other people, you have critical thinkers that know that's happening.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that I would say are in the middle, and I would say a lot of people fall in the area. There's a lot of people that just deny it, but their reasons for denial are completely different.
Yeah.
And what I mean is that we need to stop bickering over the reason, and we need to really just start making changes, because it feels like you see study after study, and these studies are important, but the biggest countries aren't enacting any real change.
No, they're not. And it's not just climate change. It applies to things like the pandemic too. Oh, it's not real, it's not happening, or it's caused by some lab or something. The weird conspiracy theories. It doesn't matter. The thing is, the pandemic is real, climate change is real, pollution is real. All of that stuff is real, and we have to deal with it instead of like chasing some weird phantoms and conspiracy theories.
It's really sad that we actually do have to, that these studies come out, one, because the scientists are doing it, but the reason why we see them in articles is because we have to the people see these studies, and they're like, well, we need to share them because people aren't believing us.
Yeah. The scientists are saying
that we have to keep piling evidence because no one's going to believe us otherwise.
No, and even if you have the evidence, they're just gonna be like, well, the science here, like the universities have liberal biases. We can't believe that.
My friends, sisters, cousins, fathers, daughters, buddy from the bar has a blog, and on that blog he posted a YouTuber who said that it's not real.
Yeah. My uncle who works at Nintendo proved that the Earth is flat and climate change is fake. Trust. It's kind of like that. The scientists are saying that without the additional human-made 1 degree Celsius, these temperatures we are seeing in Siberia would only happen less than once every 80,000 years, but they happen a couple of times in the same year, which is ridiculous. But yeah, there's that. Moving on, we have the next article is also related to climate change and the global warming and everything. It's from sciencemag.org, and it's not just them. We also have a similar article from CNBC and Bloomberg. What these articles are talking about is that recent research and more advanced climate modeling has shown that what we thought the range of temperature increase is way narrower than before. Before we thought that the temperature is gonna rise between, what was it? Let's see, between 1.5 degrees Celsius to 4.5 degrees Celsius, but with better and more advanced, sophisticated modeling techniques, we now know that the actual increase might be between 2.6 and 3.9 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it kind of pushes away the more, the more safe estimate. Yeah. I mean, it also pushes away the safe ones.
If you look at that change, it goes from 1.5 to 2.6, whereas 4.5 only goes down a little bit to 3.9. So it's kind of...
Yeah. So basically...
I would say it's a little bit more bad news than good news.
Yeah, our more liberal estimates on how bad climate change could be go out the drain.
Yeah, as a nihilist, I should appreciate that the higher end is lower now.
Yeah.
Because as a nihilist, I'm like, yep, we're gonna reach that 3.9 if that's the high end.
Yeah, and the more sophisticated these modeling techniques get, the more the narrower the range is gonna keep getting. But everybody right now is agreeing that it's pretty fucked up. It's pretty bad right now, and it's only gonna keep getting worse unless we take any strong action. Right now, the atmospheric carbon has already exceeded 350 ppm, and it just keeps going higher every year. Apparently, scientists are saying that in order to meet our goals, we have to reduce our net emissions by at least 7% every year for until we can get zero emissions.
As I was saying before, I mean, even if a lot of smaller nations, have very green, good policies for climate change, unless the big industries are operating in largest industrial countries, start changing their ways, people aren't going to wake up until we're quite literally living in a Mad Max scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
And by then, people won't even care about climate change for other reasons.
And the poorer countries are going to, enter the Mad Max scenario before the richer countries are. The rich countries are going to try to see if they can pay their way out of the apocalypse.
Well, they're going to try to. Yeah, they
are. Then we have some news from the Antarctic seafloor. Scientists for the first time discovered an active leak of methane gas from the seafloor in Antarctica. And this is because ice is melting, permafrost is melting, and it's easier for these kind of events to happen. And apparently this is not the first time they've discovered this, but it's the worst it's been since their initial discovery, which was apparently I think about 10 years ago. Yeah, the first leak was first discovered in 2011, and then it took 5 years for the microorganisms to develop around it that feast off of the methane that's releasing. But the amount of methane that the microorganisms that are growing around the leak consume is nothing compared to the amount of methane that's coming out. And methane is one major greenhouse gas, and it has it has the power to, depending upon how much methane is going to leak out and how many of these leaks are going to happen in the future, it's going to really, really screw us and accelerate climate change even farther than it already is. Yeah.
It feels like there's always something new.
Yeah.
Something that some factor that wasn't accounted for or just discovered that, oh, look, things are going to happen faster than we expected.
I mean, yeah, ExxonMobil and the other corporations, they knew about these things like climate change and stuff in the 80s, I believe, and then they did their best to hide the information because they didn't want to hurt their bottom line. Yeah, and even now, these researchers these researchers and these studies are not properly funded because it's not profitable for these for big corporations,
Well, not only is it not profitable, it's anti-profit. I don't know how.
It's
bad for them if it gets out. So they're going to do everything to make sure that people aren't reporting the truth.
They keep doing that, and we just need to pay attention to what the scientists are saying and try to push for better policies and take direct action when possible. On our other channel, Critical Feed, we covered the recent climate news and how Denmark basically pushed very strong climate change policies that plan to reduce their emissions by 70% in the next 10 years, which is significant. Apparently, it can't be overruled by other government. If the existing government gets replaced, if they lose power next time, the policy cannot be overruled. So we need some kind of bold action like that, but we're not seeing that. I mean, that we're kind of move on. I mean, that's a good segue to what we're going to talk about next. What we're going to talk about next is the Great American Outdoors Act, which is an act that recently got passed by Donald Trump and his administration in the U.S., and it plans to provide up to $9.5 billion over 5 years to address priority repairs in national parks and other public lands. Revenue from renewable energy and fossil fuel drilling on federal lands and in federal waters will provide the funding for this. So it's supposed to be protecting national parks and improving their funding so that, we don't lose what we have left. But apparently the money is going to come from not only renewable energy, but also from fossil fuel drilling and stuff on federal lands.
It's one of those things that sound good on paper, but in reality, conservatives are just going to use this as a talking point later on.
Yeah, they're going to be, Crimson was mentioning how if push comes to shove, they're going to be like, oh, you really want to stop fossil fuels, but we fund the Great American Outdoors Act with it. You don't want...
what kind of monster are you? You
don't want national parks to be funded? Do you want Smokey the Bear to starve to death? That's a kind
it's one of those things where it sounds insane if you think about it rationally for a few moments.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good tagline. I don't know. It's something that they can get behind, and they will get behind. I'm sure you'll see this happening in a few years from now.
And yeah, this is also just, I mean, this is good that some action is being taken. Obviously, we have to accept that. But at the same time, we got to look at it as, you know, as it is. It has some hidden strings attached in order to like manipulate it. And also, they're just pushing it. Even the name, the Great American Outdoors Act, is just to like help Trump get more votes.
Great American, yeah.
Yeah, you know, make America great again. You know, it's just to push. It just apply for the next upcoming
And it
election.
doesn't even have a good. I mean, Great American Outdoors Act. What does that spell out? Gala.
Yeah.
Come on. You can do better.
Gawa.
Yeah.
GAA. I don't know. We have we have an article from not article, but we have some news from Delhi. Apparently, because of the pandemic, the pollution levels in Delhi dropped by 50%. It's not just Delhi. Pollution levels in all major metropolitans like LA, Delhi, Mumbai, Beijing. What else we got? What are the other big cities that are polluted?
I can't think of any right now.
Is New York one? I mean, I guess we can count New York, right?
It's not that smoggy. I mean, it's kind of gross. But it's kind of more grimy than smog.
Yeah. The point is, the pollution levels in these cities is dropping significantly because no one's going out and, you know, driving around and stuff. And in Delhi, because of the drop in smog and air pollution, the solar panels have seem to have increased efficiency by 8.3 to 5.9%. It's not a lot, but still, the fact that just people not going out increase the solar panel efficiency is insane, or at least interesting. And we were also talking about how this probably means that using solar panels and stuff in already smoggy cities like Los Angeles and stuff is not going to be very effective because the smoke's gonna block out the panels.
It's gonna make the transition from fossil fuels to renewables even harder.
More difficult. And then we have news from UK. Apparently, they have their first e-garbage collecting garbage truck starting in the city of Oxford in the UK, which is good. I mean, I live in Australia. We don't have anything. I have to actually Google and find out how to dispose my e-waste, and we don't have that in New York either, right?
I mean, usually when I have e-waste, you have to find a library or a university to
go dispose it there. I have to go to the local office works and dispose off of the printer cartridges and computer parts and stuff.
Although speaking of, I mean, I just want to bring this up because I mentioned libraries and universities and disposing of stuff. Is that because of the pandemic? This is just a bit of a personal thing, but because of the pandemic, a lot of libraries and other donation organizations are basically closed right now. I was trying to get rid of some books. Can't get rid of them. Yeah,
that is true.
It's one of those things that you don't really think of, but
yeah.
I mean, they're a lower priority, quote unquote. So
yeah, don't worry. Some rich entrepreneur is gonna make an app for that. Trust.
Yeah, but it makes me sad to think of all the stuff that people can't recycle as a result of this.
Oh yeah.
And it also kind of makes me think of. I don't want to sound I don't want to sound like a conspiracy freak, but by that same tangent, I gotta wonder if recycling, as an industry, if some of it's just getting tossed away, at the facilities right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's actually true. Something like over 60% of the stuff you recycle doesn't even get recycled. It just ends up at the.
Well, I mean, I already kind of knew that was a thing, but with the pandemic going on, if they're doing that but worse,
Yeah, Michael Moore shared one of his stories on his own podcast, Rumble with Michael Moore, where he followed a recycling truck and it just went and dumped everything in a landfill, everything.
That doesn't really surprise me, no.
Yeah, but that's basically what happened.
It's very expensive to recycle stuff.
Yeah, it's very energy intensive and expensive to recycle these things, and apparently the whole recycle thing was pushed by corporations so that they can get away with manufacturing these things, because we keep blaming the people, saying, oh, why don't they recycle properly, why don't they use less plastic, but we never ask, why are we making these dangerous polluting plastics and other materials in the first place. We don't need them. We can live just fine without them. Like if people stop making PET bottles, we won't die next day.
The thing, and I mean, expanding upon that, I mean, there's a reason why the order is reduce, reuse, recycle. The most, and this is it's that way for a reason. You're supposed to reduce first.
Yeah. But it's like difficult. You can reduce it, but like to what extent? Like for example, if I go to the grocery store, even if I take my own bag, like a lot of the vegetables and stuff, they come pre-packaged in plastic.
You don't need plastic for everything.
Yeah. Like even if as a consumer or as a customer, I choose differently, it's very difficult because they already put plastic on all of this stuff, even if you don't want it. Like, for example, you order food, they put like plastic straws and plastic, all that stuff in it, and then give it to you, even if you don't want it, or even if you have your own utensils. So you gotta like change it from the top down, not just from the bottom up. You gotta go both ways. And plastics is a big industry. It's all made from dino juice, by the way. Plastics and everything that you see, Legos, Barbies, Transformers, all that garbage, everything's made from dino juice. It starts off as oil, and then it's processed and turned into plastic.
And we're running out of that dino juice.
Yeah, and we're running out of it. We're not gonna... I wonder what they're gonna do. But when that happens...
I mean, like a lot of, for example, like the science industry, like a lot of research labs and everything, like everything's plastic. There's a lot of plastic, glass and plastic, but a lot of plastic.
I mean, at least glass is much... it's much.
Well, glass has been around for a long time. There's a reason why it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Plastic is something that kind of humanity reached into and pulled, created.
Yeah, I mean, you can make plastics out of other biomaterial, not just oil, dino juice, but it's more expensive. You can make biodegradable plastic, but it is a bit more complicated. And why do that when you can just mass produce these things for cheap?
Yeah, if you can get away with it, then why bother?
Well, we can change all of that, but there's no political will to do that. I mean, there's a store there's a chain of stores. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm saying, I mean, the reasons are pretty obvious. It wouldn't be profitable, and because it's not profitable, if anything, it'd hurt their bottom line. So
it's not just that it's not profitable; it's that it doesn't make them all the money in the world. Because you can still make a decent amount of, like, you can live off of.
That's the thing. I mean, we talked about this before, but sometimes it's not necessarily. It's the way that companies are structured with their shareholders. The shareholders don't really care about anything except for seeing their profits rise.
Yeah, by ridiculous margins.
Yeah, and if they don't rise according to their expectations, to those wild numbers, then they're going to leave the company.
Yeah.
So the company itself is going to do whatever it can to make the most profit.
Yep.
That's just how the system works.
Like in Melbourne. I'm sorry.
So they really can't not make the most profit.
No, they can't. They have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Infinite growth. That's what they want. And the only thing that grows infinitely is cancer. That's what they want to, like... that's what our economy has turned into. A tumor, sort of. But, like, it is possible to make sustainable stuff. Like, there's a small chain of sustainable stores over here in Melbourne called Source. And if you go there, you want to buy like nuts or like flour or something, you got to either take your own box to buy and fill it up with, or they give you like paper bags to fill flour, sugar, and all that stuff with. There's like barely any plastic in there. They even sell like metal straws and whatnot, and also biodegradable soap, shampoo, and all that stuff.
Well, that's what I meant is the difference between a small business and a company. So a small business, the people who are running it can still make their own decisions according to their morals. But eventually when you get so large, no individual has any real influence of the company anymore.
Yeah, that is true.
Pulled into the capitalistic system.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of brings to like what we're worried about. Like, this is completely unrelated, but with CD Projekt Red making Cyberpunk 2077, even though Cyberpunk is supposed to be discussing these issues, it's supposed to be a satire on is it satire? Is that the right word? On how bad capitalism can get in the future, like a parody.
I'm not sure. I always the difference between satire, parody, and what else has always been a bit vague.
Yeah, true. It's basically supposed to be a discussion piece, you know, on how bad, I forget the exact word, but on how bad these things can be. But
CD Projekt always seemed like a good company, but then there's the issues, you know, like weren't they also didn't they get in charge for the crunch period? Yeah.
Yep.
And as they become more profitable as a company, you gotta wonder if they're
gonna remove the punk out of the cyberpunk and make it just like, oh look, you can be a carpo in this future world.
Yep.
Well, we gotta wait and see. That's unrelated. But going back to the plastic stuff, the last article we have in our environment and climate section is from The Conversation. It's about how Earth's plastic pollution problem could look by 2040. And it's pretty alarming. And part of this article, they talk about how much, like in how many different ways plastic gets disposed. And like they're saying that according to their model, cumulatively more than 2.2 billion tons of plastic is will be openly burned by 2040. And then 850 million tons will be dumped on land, and 480 million tons in rivers and seas. These are numbers that are so difficult to even imagine.
I can't.
Yeah, 2.2 billion tons of plastic will be open burned by 2040. It's not that long from now. It's insane.
It really isn't. I mean, it feels like it was just the 2000s, you know. I was just a kid, you know. So.
Yeah, and that's like how much it will be burned in the next 20 years. It's not counting all the stuff that got burned up until this point. And it's crazy. And they also suggest that the single most effective intervention is to provide a service for the 2 billion people who currently don't have their waste collected. Like especially in poor countries and stuff. They talk about how in India they have informal waste collection sector where people go around on their what are these things called? I forget in English.
The cart? I mean, it looks like that's the only word that I can think of right now.
They're called rickshaws and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Tuk-tuks.
That might be it.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Not really, I gotta be honest, Americans don't really have that as part of our culture. That was more of a European thing, so.
Yeah. Basically, they're suggesting that like we need something like this to collect the plastic waste and dispose it off. On rivers, like so that before they enter rivers and oceans. And I kind of chuckled when I read the article. The article is good. I recommend reading it. It's in the description, just like all the articles. But the thing is, they identify the problem, and the solution is, if you only collect the stuff and prevent it from getting into the oceans and the waters and whatnot, that's fine. I mean, yeah, that's part of it, but it still doesn't solve the crux of the problem. That is, we make too much of these plastics that we don't even need from dino juice. Why can't we just like hold these? Like nowhere in the article do we talk about holding these corporations. I'm not saying the article is bad. It's pretty good. Props to the author and all that stuff. I mean, this show exists because people like that write these articles. But they don't talk about how we need to hold corporations and governments accountable and cut down on making plastic, like producing stuff we don't need. Easy. I mean, not easy, but hypothetically easy. Yep.
It's fixing climate change is going to be very hard work. And that's all it is. It's going to be hard work. There's no easy solution.
And it's not profitable. It's not profitable. No. You can't put a price tag on saving the planet. And I know a lot of billionaires are like Elon Musk are like, well, I'm just gonna make a base on Mars and we're all gonna move there and live happily ever after like Teletubbies holding hands with a giant sun like with a baby's face on it setting and rising. That ain't happening. We don't have enough rocket fuel to like even take a fraction of the human population out of off the surface of Earth.
Well, in the first place, Mars isn't even going to be ready for like 50, 60 years.
It's a barren wasteland.
At the bare minimum.
And even then, it's going to be like very small colonies.
On that if people are interested.
Yeah. It's just going to be a few thousand people. You're saying though?
I was just saying there's a very good Kurzaget video on Mars, mission.
Yeah. Kurzgesagt on YouTube. It's I believe a German YouTuber who makes like fantastic animations and stuff. They're probably pretty popular. If you're watching our small show, you probably know about Kurzgesagt already. So yeah, go check that out. All right, next we got COVID-19. Fun times. I should probably not have said all of those.
That never end.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that word so many times. It's like saying Bloody Mary. Something's gonna pop up. By that I mean YouTube's gonna, shadow ban our content. Oh well. It's not like we have thousands of subscribers. But yeah, so the first article we got is from New York Post talking about how there's probably a new mutation in the coronavirus, causing a new strain of the virus to pop up that is not necessarily more deadly, but probably more infectious.
The thing with that would be, Ace. The thing with that, Ace, is if it becomes more infectious, what's to say that it won't just evolve again to become more deadly after that?
Apparently the researchers have studied other coronaviruses like SARS and stuff, and they've already studied the genome for this one, and they're saying that the chances of that happening are very astronomically low. So you don't have to worry about it becoming more deadly, but we should worry about it becoming more and more infectious. Apparently one case, like in this one case, the mutation happened on the spike protein that covers the virus, making it easier for it to enter human cells and latch onto them and stuff. Hello?
You said it's astronomically low for it to evolve again, but then again, this is 2020, so
yeah. Who knows?
And the other thing I was going to say is, this is something we're going to that we talked about
becomes
privately,
a zombie virus.
There's a lot of evidence coming out that even if it's more infectious and it doesn't kill people, there are various studies showing that, there's autopsy reports showing that there's a bunch of blood clotting. There's a couple more studies.
Lung scarring.
We're covering the one with, there's lung scarring. I think we're going to cover the one for the heart injury.
Yeah, how it affects the cardiovascular system.
To give a brief, foreshadowing with that.
Mm-hmm.
They basically did MRI studies of healthy versus formerly infected people, and there are people. The general gist is that even if you don't die from coronavirus, you probably have heart and blood issues, cardiovascular issues for perhaps the rest of your life.
Yeah, your body might be internally crippled permanently.
Yeah, so
that could be pretty bad. But yeah, apparently this mutation was already predicted by computer modeling. So I guess our scientists don't get enough credit. They predicted that. They did predict there could be a pandemic. Even the economists predicted that all we need is a black swan event to cause a massive depression in 2020, and it happened. The black swan event was the pandemic, which was also sort of predicted that it could happen, considering that other viruses like previous pandemic instances like with SARS also came from Wuhan, because that place is just perfect breeding ground for new strains of viruses, and no one did anything about it. Oh well, they don't have any article for that, so that's just a digression. Next thing we have is from SciTech Daily. They talk about how there could be some pre-existing immunity in the general population for COVID-19. It's probably so a Singapore study shows that SARS-CoV, I'm just going to quote the article directly, and I quote, Singapore study shows that SARS-CoV-2 specific T cells are present in all recovered COVID-19 patients. These T cells were also found in all subjects who recovered from SARS 17 years ago, and in over 50% of both SARS-CoV-1, which is the original SARS disease, and SARS-CoV-2, which is COVID-19, uninfected individuals tested, suggesting that a level of pre-existing SARS-CoV-2 immunity is present in the general population. Infection and exposure to coronavirus induces long-lasting memory T cells, which could help in the management of the current pandemic. And if any of you on the audience ever watched Cells at Work, this would probably make sense to you. Go watch Cells at Work to understand human biology. right? That's how it works, right?
You can take our word for it. We're anime girls in a screen.
Yes. When were anime girls on a screen ever wrong, you know? Hatsune Miku was never wrong, right? But yeah, the point.
I gotta imagine there's some like really fucked up shit out there.
maybe. The point is, this is more of a positive news. This comes from Duke NUS Medical School. And
yeah, I mean, it looked like it's positive because you said that it could help with the development of vaccines, so that's always good news.
Yeah, this is a Singaporean study, seems to be verified by Duke or something from what I read. Yeah, point is, you can read the article. It seems that this could be positive as people might have some immunity to it, which is good. But then again, to what extent we don't know. More research needs to be conducted on that. But, you know, something good, you know, you got to take something. Got to take whatever you get. Yeah, the next article is kind of a weird one, but we thought it'd be kind of useful for people who are using cloth masks or trying to make their own masks. This is from Science Alert. And the article discusses how you can test. I mean, a researcher shares a simple way how you can test whether or not your cloth masks or your handmade masks, homemade masks, are viable. And the test is pretty simple. If you can, because the virus is very small, and the water droplets, the size of them are very small, and if your mask is too porous or too breathable or whatever, the gaps in the mask or like the fabric of the mask are too large, then it's not going to be very viable. It's got to be pretty thin.
It's not going to be effective for preventing your droplets from getting on everyone else, because that's the main purpose of masks.
I mean, we're going to talk about crazy people making masks out of lace and stuff, or crochet.
Yeah, speaking of homemade masks,
yeah. But the point is, so you need to know that the mask is not too breathable, that it's not too porous. And the way the researchers suggest you check that out, if you want to, is whether or not trying whether or not you can blow out a candle while wearing your homemade masks. And if you can blow out a candle while wearing the mask, it probably means your mask is not providing sufficient amount of protection to you and the people around you. But if you can blow out a candle, it probably means that your mask is at least somewhat effective. To what extent? I mean, you don't have a personal lab unless you do at your home to test it out. But if you don't, it's something, right?
It's at least something if you want to go out and if you run out of masks.
And also something it's fun, something fun to do when you're bored. Just give your kids or yourself a mask and like light a candle and
get them some cloth, give them some fabric, and give them a candle and see where that goes.
Yeah, pretend to be Bill Nye the Science Guy because you're bored and you're losing your mind staying indoors. Unless you're a weeb, in which case you're fine.
Instructions unclear, house on fire.
Yep, exactly. And the next article is a good segue.
Okay.
The Internet Today people talked about it, and a bunch of other YouTubers talked about it too. But now we're living in a very crazy time where people think that wearing masks is bad for your health. And the logic is...
because doctors and surgeons haven't been using these for
exactly.
decades.
If you wear a mask, you're rebreathing your carbon dioxide, and thus you're going to kill yourself. You're going to just asphyxiate and die. But that's not how it works. Doctors and surgeons, as Crimson mentioned, wear these things for hours on end to conduct surgeries and whatnot. And it's not, you can still breathe through it.
I won't deny that. They are somewhat uncomfortable. It takes getting used to them.
Yeah.
But you can still live. You can still breathe fine.
Yeah.
It's just a little foreign, that's all.
And if they're too uncomfortable, there are ways of making masks comfortable. Like if your sunglasses are getting too glary, put some cotton balls in your nose, and that'll make sure that your glasses don't get glare, sunglasses or just your regular glasses. And if your ears are hurting from wearing the mask, you can wear some other masks that go around your head that don't hurt your ears. There are ways around it. There's like a huge variety of masks available. And also fabric or like whatever material cloths are made out of, depending upon what mask they are, they're porous. That's the whole point of it. Air can go through and go in, go through either way. So when you breathe in and breathe out, you should be fine. The only thing that it prevents like from entering your mouth are the virus particles or whatever, or from the virus particles to go out and hit other people. It's just basic stuff. And there's some crazy videos with even like some teachers saying that, oh, I'm a science teacher and I know that wearing a mask is bad. It's just stupid. And now they're making like masks out of crochet yarn or like out of lace and stuff, basically very thin fabric that basically offers no protection whatsoever, like out of mesh basically. I say basically too much, but the point is the maskers are doing this so that they can get over the restriction or the regulation that you gotta wear a mask. It's dumb. You want to add something? It's from Indianapolis, by the way, the article.
No, it's just very depressing, these news. People are putting so much effort into such a dumb thing.
Yeah, I got an ad. I'm sorry to cut off, but I got an ad of like this mask with like, which is basically made out of mesh, but it has like these weird fake diamonds studded on all over it. It's like $60. Offers no protection, just diamond studded. I mean, fake diamond. It's stupid. You're gonna say?
No, I mean, I was basically done.
Yeah. So yeah, don't be dum-dums. Just wear a mask. Protect yourself and protect others, and don't wear these stupid mesh masks or crochet masks or whatever. The medical professionals and the lawmakers should probably define what type of mask people should be wearing so that they don't wear these weird things. There should either be like actual cloth masks or like actual N95, KN95, or like surgical masks or whatever. Anything is better than stupid crochet masks. Don't be crazy, because if you're crazy and if you don't follow instructions, you're gonna end up like the next article. Perfect segue. Bolsonaro from Brazil. So President Jair Bolsonaro gets infected twice. He gets infected twice in a row. It's just dumb. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before the podcast, and so you either have one of two things. Either he never got infected the first time, which, you know, is quite a possibility, considering that a lot of world leaders might want to try doing this in order to downplay the coronavirus. Oh, look, I'm infected and I'm fine, you know. The other possibility is that, yes, the universe is just trying to get him out.
Yeah, could be both. Who knows? But basically, he got infected on July 7th, according to his tests. His tests were positive on the 7th of July. He fell ill. He was in the hospital. He apparently got better, and then on the 21st, they did the test again, and he was like infected again. At least the test was positive. So
I wonder. I mean, the first test, you gotta wonder if maybe, you know, that.
Maybe he was still recovering. Who knows?
Well, or maybe it was just a false positive, and he was just sick from something else.
Could be that too.
Or vice versa, you know, or the new one is a false positive, and he's sick from something else.
Because
I mean, the internet today, people brought this up. If you ever watched their show, but he has a history of like almost dying constantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been at death's door a shit ton of times.
Oh my god.
Like he was stabbed and a bunch of other stuff.
Sounds like Emperor Palpatine. Just retcons his own lore and comes back. Oh man, the few people of the future would have a lot of fun. Like the future people of Brazil are gonna have a lot of fun reading his history. Oh, this guy got infected twice somehow.
Well, or I mean, as much fun as people in America will have, you know, about reading about Trump. And
yeah, they're probably gonna cry. Who knows? Yeah, so
it's gonna be less crying or anything. It's gonna be what I just did, which is a hiss of cringe.
Yeah, I mean, Bolsonaro is known to like deny science, and he was like denying the pandemic was even a thing, and was shaking people's hands and stuff. So, no surprise that he got infected.
It's really funny to just. It's depressing, but it's funny to watch all these conservative people who, for months, denied the coronavirus, and now are finally urging, you know, basic measures of mask wearing and social distancing, because they're like.
Yeah, so like America had it.
Because they finally realized that if they keep denying it, they might actually get ejected, out of office.
I mean, America had it worse. Like the governor of Texas was basically asking people to die, like sacrifice themselves to the pandemic.
I mean, if there's a tagline that you can use for to generally describe politicians during the coronavirus, it's "Some of you may die. That is that's a choice I am willing to make."
Yeah, it's a Shrek meme, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Ay. Just be careful, folks. Then the next final news article for the COVID-19 section is how COVID-19 might leave an impact on the heart and raising concerns about lasting damage. You want to take this?
I don't have the article in front of me actually, and your screen's blurry. So
from
I'll start though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from what I can remember is that it was an MRI study testing or comparing the hearts of 100 healthy people versus 100 formerly infected people with similar with otherwise similar bodies and conditions. And they found that there were significant heart injuries, changes to the heart, to the vasculature, right?
Yeah, basically
I
it seems that
I
like
don't have
78% of the recovered patients showed some signs of heart issues that probably were caused by the virus. And there were other accounts from like previous articles saying that COVID-19 could cause issues with like blood clotting, lung scarring and stuff. So this is just one more stuff. It seems to be side effects.
I mean, the nice thing about
virus.
this article is that it's with live, otherwise mostly healthy people. So as opposed to like autopsy of people who died.
Yeah.
So,
These are people who recovered technically, and
recovered in air quotes, yes, because they might be living right now, but for all we know, from all the evidence we're starting to see, is that coronavirus might leave you crippled for the rest of your life.
And not only that, like apparently people who recovered were more likely to experience cardiac problems after like 2 or 3 months from recovery, implying they could either be weaker or they could already be damaged by it somehow. Which is all bad. I mean, the virus does attack your lungs and does have a significant impact on your immune system. It seems to be working like AIDS and what was the other one? What characteristics did it show? It showed characteristics of AIDS and some other virus, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was SARS and AIDS or whatever. So it kind of like basically messes with your immune system and like your other biochemistry. So, well, we need more research, but the research we have right now is pretty compelling. You don't want to get infected. That's the bottom line. Don't get infected.
Yeah.
Try your best. Anyways,
if only it was that easy, yeah, but
if only.
Try your best.
Okay, next, moving on, we are in the world news / US news, because we both used to, Crimson lives in America and I used to live in America, so there's that. Oh well, first in our world news section is Ghislaine Maxwell, as the guys from Internet Today call her, Ghislaine. Remember?
I mean, she deserves that, so.
Yep. So Ghislaine Maxwell apparently is ready to, or at least preparing to give out big names to help her case out,
Yeah, I mean, this is, she wants to get out of jail before she's Epsteined. It's that simple.
Yep, before she gets deaded in Minecraft by mysterious shoelace. So, yeah, she's trying to give out names, but I wonder if, like, whose name she's gonna give out or how much of whatchamacallit meddling people are gonna like try to do with her case. She probably knows she probably has a shit ton of dirt on people.
And you gotta hope that she has a like a death, what do you call it? Like something that goes off when she dies, like just uploads a bunch of stuff. I really hope she has a death
like a
switch.
dead man switch if she doesn't show up. Maybe that could be her trump card. Like, you know what? If you do shoelace me, if you Epstein me, I had like this dead man switch hidden in like I don't know, Antarctica. If I don't go there and like click it, It'll release all of your stuff.
But you know, it'd be really funny if she had a dead man switch, but then she got infected. She had heart issues. Her heart skipped a beat, and it just all released.
Oh no! Yep. COVID-19 triggers the dead man switch, and everything gets leaked out. I mean, considering how much we see these things like dead man switches in like crime stories and like mystery novels and like shows and stuff, I wonder why these people don't use those more often. Just have a dead man switch, easy. If you don't keep checking it, all of the secrets are gonna get out. Oh man. Yeah, they even mentioned how Epstein committed suicide by hanging, but we all know that's probably not the case. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you say that he committed suicide by hanging, then you're just lying at that point.
Yeah, using shoelace or something, wasn't it? Oh well.
If you don't want to, if you don't want to come off as a conspiracy theorist, just don't even bring up how he died. Then just say that he died. Because
yeah.
If you say anything other than that he got Epsteined, then you're basically just playing into the
the whole thing. Yeah.
You're letting the media control you. I don't know.
I mean,
oh man, that sounded really bad when I said those words. Letting the media control you. God damn.
I mean, speaking of conspiracy theories, maybe it'd be better if we jump to that part.
Sure. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so speaking of conspiracy theories, so the head of the NYPD police union, apparently in one of his interviews with Fox News, had a QAnon mug in the background, which is interesting. For those of you who don't know what QAnon is, they're just conspiracy nuts that believe that there's like this deep state, like made by like some kind of weird alien lizard people or something, or like cannibalistic satanic pedophiles controlling everything in the background, and that like a lot of the Democrats are part of it. It's just complete crazy
funny thing is,
stuff.
People, I mean, if you bring up pedophiles, it's funny because these are the same people who probably actually are the pedophiles.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, the QAnon stuff just came out of 4chan, and I just went crazy from that. It's just as ridiculous as it sounds. It's basically like the same as flat earthers or like anti-vaxxers and stuff, but even more ridiculous somehow. They somehow managed to sound even dumber than them.
It's not surprising that the head of a police union would even have this, though.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of speaks volumes. The kind of people that run.
It really
these
does.
things.
It's a telling sign of what the culture is like.
Oh yeah, the police unions are by long shot the most powerful unions in America. The only unions.
They're beyond unions at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even compare them to other unions. They look completely different.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like the one meme with that one British comedian, like where he goes like, "Are we the baddies now?" They these guys keep complaining about the deep state and whatnot and all these conspiracies, and they don't realize that they are this quote unquote deep state they keep complaining about. Pulling strings, manipulating, and lobbying the government to like give them more power and stuff like that, control the population through violence like the police do with the things that are happening with the Black Lives protests and stuff. Yep. That's why I thought that would be a good segue from the Ghislaine Maxwell thing.
Yep.
Speaking of conspiracy, speaking of not believing in logic and science, the
segues, yeah.
Yep. Kayleigh McEnany, the press secretary, she said that on when was it? I think it was last week or the week before that.
July 16th.
July 16th. Okay. She said that science should not stand in the way of schools reopening, which is interesting. I mean, we all know they don't believe in science and stuff because they're dumb.
I mean, the first schools to reopen, they're just basically using kids as guinea pigs at this point.
Yeah, it's okay. Like the whole schools reopening thing is crazy. Just because kids are less likely to get the get affected
doesn't mean that they won't.
Yeah,
there have been plenty of cases of children dying from this. So
Oh, I should rephrase. It's not that kids can get infected; they will. It's just that they're gonna probably survive.
Not only can they actually. The thing is, you really shouldn't ever put children in harm's way.
No.
So not only can children actually get killed from this, I mean, it's less likely, yes, they can. Not only that, but they'll bring it home to their families.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened in Italy.
Goodbye, mommy. Goodbye, poppy. Goodbye, granddaddy.
Yep.
Etc.
That's what happened in Italy. That's how the case is spread. Apparently, the kids went at home and like spread it to their family members and stuff. Yeah. It's just dumb, and it doesn't, like, they keep forgetting that a lot of kids still have pre-existing conditions like asthma or some other disease or some kind of disorder pertaining to their immune system or respiratory system.
When I was younger, I definitely would have been able to go back to school if this was happening.
Oh yeah, me too.
When I was younger, I had really bad asthma. Like, I had to go to the hospital a few times for it. So
I just had an inhaler.
That's what ended me if I was still in school back then.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, people like us, the weebs, would have been wiped out first.
Oh no. So much for the weeb master race.
Yeah, if you actually, parents listening to this, don't send your kids to school. Try not to. I mean, a lot of them are obsessed with homeschooling, so this is actually a good excuse to actually homeschool your kids.
That's its own issue though, too, at the same time.
I know. I'm just joking.
There needs to be a third option.
Yeah. At least for now, keep your kids at home. Buy them V-Bucks or something. Let them play Fortnite. Who knows? That's better than the pandemic. So
I
that's
gotta
the third
imagine
option.
I gotta imagine you could, if you really do your research, you can probably find some educational games. Like I don't know.
Yeah, or get a subscription.
Get them one of those speller games or something. Yeah.
Get a subscription to Skillshare or like Brilliant. Yeah, we're not funded by them, but you could do that. There's Curiosity Stream, Skillshare, Brilliant. Okay, people, we plugged you without even being paid. So yeah, we're waiting for your endorsement.
Yeah, just buy them an Udemy class and like
or that,
some like in Python or some programming. Like buy them, like there's a bunch of classes like for like just like learning how to like program a video game.
Yeah,
or something.
Coursera is completely free right now if you're a uni student.
Well, I looked that up. It's not really that it's completely free. It's that there's a whole bunch of classes free.
Oh,
right?
I mean, yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the classes. I didn't really care for them, but hey, I mean, there's plenty of there that other people might be interested in.
Yeah. And
check it out.
Yeah, going back to the article though, there are a bunch of hilarious tweets. There's someone said science should not stand in the way of kids learning science. I think the one with Bill Nye in it was funny. White House says science should not stand in the way of reopening schools. I guess it's good to have it spelled out. The administration is generally not in favor of science. Might surprise a few of us. How like they're basically going mask off with their disbelief in science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just keep your kids at home and protect them. Don't put them in harm's way. That's basically 101 of ethics or whatever. I don't know. I'm not American.
And let's move on to the next article.
Yep. So the next article we got is from China, talking about how they're destroying crosses in churches to take down images of Jesus in an intensifying crackdown on religion. This has been happening for a long time. It's not just Christians. Obviously the Uyghur Muslims is a big topic that's going around right now and how they're basically abusing them. China's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I mean, this is really starting to be mainstream news. It's impossible for China to hide these kind of things now.
Yeah.
And going to talk about, what's happening in this article. The general idea is that they're going down to small religious buildings, essentially taking down religious symbols and replacing it with pictures of, what's the name of the leader? I'm blanking on his name. Xi Jinping and Mao. Yeah, essentially, don't worship your religion, worship the state.
Yeah.
It's all about power.
The government doesn't actually have an issue with religion, but they just want to control people. They want you to pray to them, pray to the state. I mean,
they don't want a single stray thought going out anywhere except for worship of the state.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
just
believe in
becoming.
something else, that might invite some unwanted thoughts.
Yep. They want absolute control over you, and this is just the face of authoritarianism. That's what's happening in China. And I had to deal with a couple of tankies on Twitter justifying that whatever China's doing cannot be wrong, that all of the news we hear about China with the Uyghur Muslims and whatnot are all lies, that there's just conspiracy theories.
If any of you are listening, I would imagine that you have good critical thinking skills, but please just, if you hear conspiracy, think to yourself a little bit,
Yeah, I mean,
how much effort would it require? How many people would have to be silenced or sworn to fealty to pull off some of these insane conspiracies?
Yeah, and we've seen a lot this episode. It's not just conspiracy theories involving China, but we had QAnon and all of that stuff, anti-climate stuff, anti-science stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching an H Bomber Guy video, and he talks about why, in his Flat Earth video, and he talks about there's the reason why people fall for these conspiracies is because they want an explanation. There's, especially right now in 2020 with the pandemic, with the climate change, with everything happening, massive unemployment, tanking economies, people are desperate and they're looking for any explanation, and they'll take any explanation they can get, even if it's a bit wild.
Yep.
Or a lot wild,
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, going back to thinking on how difficult it would be to pull off conspiracy theories involving these things is like, there's a video from Adam Ruins Everything where he talks about how pulling off the moon landing thing, the moon landing is fake conspiracy, would take more resources than actually sending people to the moon. Because you need the lighting, you need the set, you need to spend enough money to silence people. So, yes, these conspiracies are larger than life. Sometimes fact is stranger than fiction, and you gotta accept it instead of weaving weird tales. Sometimes things happen. Yeah, moving on. We have news from America. Trump is planning to sign an executive order to reduce drug costs. It's supposed to be a series of 4 orders. The first one aiming at reducing insulin prices. Second one planning to import drugs and stuff from pharmacies and wholesalers, allowing wholesalers and pharmacies to import drugs from Canada. And the third one being to cut down discounts, quote unquote, from middlemen, who are also known as pharmacy benefit managers. And the fourth one, I believe, is I forget where it was, but it was something to do with allowing for more generic versions of the drugs to be available, or something along these lines. Do you have any opinion about this?
I mean, we talked about this a tiny bit before the podcast, and I mean, this is another political tool.
Yeah.
You said that it's not even going to really happen until after
apparently this will not even go through. If it goes through, it won't even get into effect until after the elections. At which point, if he wins, he can just back out of it, or if he doesn't, this is just him trying to get more votes, trying to be more populist. This is just Trump trying to pull this pseudo-populist rhetoric at people, which people tend to fall for. He wants to be known as the working man's man or whatever, and this is just one of his ploys. But people, remember, this is just them trying to get votes and stuff. If you look at the actual policies, they're going to back out of it. They're not going to do it. Apparently, if this goes through, it's going to piss off a lot of pharma companies. And, these people are the same people that fund people like Trump and even Biden. So, obviously, having things like this to go through, or having things
I mean, the only good thing, though, is you could use it as president to say, oh, well, conservatives supported something similar to this in the past.
Yeah, you could use that as president. And I think even Bernie Sanders supports this. Of course, anybody would support this. These are good things by themselves. But now how they would be implemented, or if they would be implemented, are the real
Well,
things
that's
we
the
should be
thing is,
concerned about.
yeah.
Oh, speaking
Because
of
they can always
burning,
do this with, because I mean, this is a phrase I heard recently on the internet today, but I'm gonna apply it. Malicious compliance. Yeah, they can take these good ideas, but then they can twist them and implement them in the worst way possible.
yeah,
That
that's a good phrase.
basically becomes ineffectual.
Uh-huh. That's a good phrase. That's what's happening. I mean, that's what happened with the earlier article we discussed about the
Masks?
Great American Outdoors
Oh,
Act.
oh, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to fund protecting the climate with stuff that destroys the climate, i.e., fossil fuels. Kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, speaking about talking about Bernie, Bernie apparently got in a fight with CEO Elon Musk. Because Elon thinks that it's not a good idea to, have another stimulus bill that, what were his exact words? Another government, Elon Musk said, and I quote, another government stimulus package is not in the best interest of the people, in my opinion. But even though, like, Tesla employees benefited from the relief bill. Yeah, you want to add something?
Oh no, I mean, it's just your typical, hypocrisy. That's all.
Yeah, and Bernie rightfully called him out to be hypocritical and pathetic, which Elon is. And for those of you who are Elon Musk fans, I'm sorry, okay? Your waifu, Elon Musk, is trash, all right? The guy's kind of psychotic. The only reason he's successful is because his family has diamond mines. Probably made a few good business decisions and stuff, but more than half of his projects are just crazy. Okay, the boring project, the boring company. What the hell are you gonna drill? Hyperloop stuff. You can't have vacuum tubes running halfway across the countries. Like, they couldn't even make a vacuum tube that ran like a kilometer because it just collapsed. It's goddamn vacuum.
I mean, my favorite is still that car.
Oh yeah, the Cybertruck. He just breaks it. People were like, apparently his engineers were like, don't do it, Elon. Don't do it. We dare you. Are you daring me? And then he does it, and it smash. So yeah, stop idolizing billionaires. They're out of touch. They're sociopathic. They don't really care about you. They're really, really out of touch. They have billions of dollars. Billions. They're so rich that they just can't relate to the normal person, and they won't. Hello? I thought you were gonna say something.
Oh no, I was. I'm good.
My bad. Point is, billionaires are not your friends. Okay.
I mean, if I add something, I would say watch the episode that Hassan Minhaj did.
Oh yeah.
About billionaires.
Yeah, watch the Hassan Minhaj episode on billionaires. They even have Anand Giridharadas on it. He's a great guy who explores how billionaires, with their philanthropy, manipulate basically the discussion around them and what they can do and how they seize power using philanthropy and also cult of personality. So yeah, go watch that. So the next news we got is how Ted Yoho and Congressman Ted, he's a congressman, right?
I'm not sure. It should say, if you scroll back up.
Yeah, I think he is, right?
I'm not sure who he is. I think he's another congressman.
I read the article. Holy cow, my brain.
Republican congressman. It said it right there.
He is the congressman, right? Yep. So Ted Yoho and AOC got into a spat, and Ted Yoho basically ended up calling her bleep
a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You may want to blur my
BITC.
I love people over me.
No, it's okay. I think I interrupted you, so that's good. Yeah. So he called her effing bitch, which is not have you like behave as a congressperson. So he got kicked from the board of nonpartisan Christian charity, Bread for the World.
Oh yeah, no, it's really funny.
It is.
A conservative dude.
He's supposed to be one of the most conservative the GOP members on the Congress.
Yeah, but it's like when you're so conservative that the Christian board kicks you out.
Yeah, it's like, man, you're too offensive even for us. Bye bye. And now he's gonna retire soon, so that's good. Yeah, like people keep complaining that AOC is brash, AOC is this or that and stuff. A lot of goddamn crazies have like a hate boner for her, including people like Ben Shapiro. It's just ridiculous. Okay, you never see her go against some person and swear at them on some other congressperson or stuff. More often than not, people on the Justice Democrats are on the receiving side of hatred and things like this. So yeah, I mean, and every time something like this happens, the thing is, like, it only makes AOC and the Justice Democrats look better, because they're always the underdogs being hit upon, right?
Yeah, I mean, this dude is clearly in the wrong.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can try to. What are you trying to accomplish?
No, he made an excuse
is
saying that
general,
he was calling her policies that and not her
do.
that.
Yeah.
Which is just dumb. That's not how anything works. But yeah, I mean, good riddance. Bye, Ted Yoho from the board of Bread for the World. Which is funny because I thought Bread for the World would be some kind of weird leftist organization, like BreadTube and all that stuff. But yeah.
Well, Bread for the World definitely. It sounds, because of the whole thing with Jesus and his, his body's bread or whatever.
I mean, technically he was the first socialist. You didn't hear it from me.
No.
But yeah, last news from the World News / American News section is equally crazy. Kanye thinks he's gonna beat Joe Biden and Trump. More exclusively Joe Biden, because I think Kanye has some kind of a weird.
He has a weird man crush on Trump.
Yeah, he's a weird man crush on Trump. And he thinks the reason he's gonna win is because people love him so much they're gonna write him in. It's insane. The guy's having some mental issues and his family's concerned about him. But yeah. You think it's gonna happen? You think people are gonna actually write his name in?
The thing is, if you were political enough to bother going to a poll or write in a mail-in ballot, to use a mail-in ballot, you probably wouldn't consider Kanye West a real option. No. So I'm not concerned at all.
Yeah, it sounds more ramblings from a person who needs actual medical help. Apparently he's been.
And if anyone writes him in, it's only going to be because they're doing it for the joke, like to take a picture of it and post it on Twitter. And if they were doing that, they probably weren't even going to vote in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
they're only doing it to get some upvotes or something.
Yeah, if you want to write someone and go write Berman Supreme's name in, you got a free pony if he wins. Come on, do it. But yeah, Kanye is not doing well mentally speaking. He apparently hasn't been on his medication and stuff either, so it is concerning. I hope he gets the help he needs, because some of the stuff he says is just crazy. He wants to have Elon Musk as his vice president and turn the White House into Wakanda. Yeah, so that's that. All right, that wraps up the World News section.
US news. Yep.
Next part is the research news that we have. Where is it? What happened?
Okay.
Is this it? No, that's not it. God damn it. I'll have to cut this part out. But I lost the tab. Oh, there it is. Research news. We have some interesting articles from the world of research and science. The first article we have is a study points out that there might be a study of over 1 million people finds intriguing link between levels of iron and how long you can live. The gist of the article is basically that according to a recent study, it shows that there might be a strong correlation between lifespan and your iron levels, especially pointing out that higher iron levels in your blood might mean you might not live as long because it impedes with your biology.
Yeah, that's the correlation anyways.
Yep. It's not conclusive, I don't think, but it is a very strong correlation according to the research. Yeah, having too much iron in the blood appeared to be linked to an increased risk of dying earlier. And the article also talked about how this might be one of the reasons why red meat is bad for you, because it has a lot of iron in it.
People. But I mean, as I said, it might just be correlation. Like you might be, because like for example, like you might want to eat spinach, and I wouldn't take this as a sign that spinach will kill you. For example, it might be more that in the case that iron-rich red meat is bad for you in various other reasons. And a lot of people for the longest time, especially if these are long studies, red meat has been a very iconic staple for meals across the world for a very long time in the modern age.
Yep.
So if there's been any kind of additives or anything related to red meat in general, all the hormones they add to these animals, that might be more the cause. But this is all speculation. Further research will probably eventually show us, what the actual causes might be.
Yeah, the article mentions that the iron levels in your blood are by and large caused by, or are responsible, not responsible, but your diet basically is responsible for the iron levels in your blood. So the iron levels you have mean that you have a particular type of diet. So it could just be that the diet that the people with the higher blood iron levels in their blood were having is probably not as healthy compared to the people with lower or normal iron levels, I think. And if you're wondering about spinach, we actually looked it up. Apparently, spinach and other such plants have a lot of oxalates in them, which prevent absorption of iron into your body. So if you have enough spinach, especially raw spinach, it might actually take away iron from your body and not give it to you. You can look it up on the Wikipedia article. We just found that entertaining. Yeah. So surprisingly, Popeye the Sailor Man, because he eats so much raw spinach, he might be anemic and
not digest any of it.
Yeah, he might not be able to digest any of it. But on the plus side, he probably never had constipation. I'll leave you with that. But yeah, besides genetic, blood iron is mostly controlled by diet, as the article mentions over here, and is linked to a number of age-related diseases, including Parkinson's and liver disease. Apparently also affects our body's ability to fight off infections as we get older. And this article is from a reputable journal. The research is from a reputable journal, Nature Communication. So I guess it's reliable, but it is a correlation. I mean, that's one thing we have to be careful in science and research. Sometimes correlation is accidentally taken out to be causation. Wasn't there like a whole episode on John Oliver's show?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think there was an episode talking about how research and
there could have been an episode on research.
How they try to sensationalize some stuff just so that not the researchers themselves often, but other people.
Oh yeah. The media will interview them and then they'll just completely take their statements out of context.
Yeah, I think there was like a weird segment, the weird article from some news outlet which was talking about how will drinking coffee cause brain cancer? Or something stupid like that, even though it was a weird correlational study. And even though the study might not actually have said anything like that. So there's that. So you got to be careful. And, don't eat red meat, I guess. Technically, I mean, this is pretty strong. So, yeah, don't eat too much iron, too much red meat and stuff. And
there is a lot of increasing evidence that red meat is just really bad for you.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah, so don't do that. And probably lay off the Kellogg's cornflakes, rich in iron and stuff. Don't eat those. You might not need that extra iron unless you're anemic. Yep. And moving on, we have news for, not news, but interesting research, interesting article for the cat people out there.
Yeah, the memes are real.
The cats chose us. Cats chose humans. Very early archaeological tests upend common historical thinking. So the research suggests that cats indeed did choose us, and they chose us way before we initially thought they did. The current research found some wildcat fossils or remains in Poland. Where was it? The extent which sinus, where was it? God damn it.
Yeah, you had it highlighted.
Central Europe. I mean, I highlighted the abstract, but I forgot to highlight the middle of the article. But they found some cat bones some wild cat bones in Poland that date back to that period, and the research suggests that cat remains from Poland suggests that because they date back from 4,200 BC to 2,300 BC. Cats might have decided to live alongside humans as far back as 3,000 was it 3,000 BC? Yeah, 3,000 BC. Back in the Neolithic period. And the reason they might have decided to choose us is because that is when we started farming, and farming caused a lot of rodents to pop up, and it was just a win-win. They live with us, they're cute, we can make ancient stone man YouTube videos about cats by drawing them on cave paintings while they get to eat rats and stuff. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's completely, it's a beneficial relationship with the two of us,
And
they get rid of the rodents, we get more food, they get more food, everyone wins.
Yeah, and they also mentioned that the interpretation is that the cats of the late Neolithic period were opportunistic synanthropes, most probably free-living individuals, that is, not directly relying on a human's food supply, which implies that they were probably eating the rodents that happen to pop up while we farm. So yeah, the memes are real, basically. Cats did choose us, and we were the chosen ones by the cats. Oh well, we chose the dogs, but the cats chose us. It was predestined, thousands of years ago. And the next news we have is about metal-eating bacteria. Sort of an abrupt segue, but still. The news comes from Caltech. A professor, Dr. Jared Ledbetter, who studies environmental microbiology, left a glass jar covered with substance to soak. What substance was? They were performing experiments with manganese, and they left some manganese on a glass jar, and they forgot about it. And a few months later, apparently they didn't clean their stuff for a few months, probably went for vacation or something. And they came back and they noticed that there was manganese oxide on the glass jar. And on further investigation, apparently they found a bacteria that was feasting off of the manganese and depositing the manganese oxide. Which is very interesting.
Interesting. But you also gotta wonder if this is... I mean, I'm sure, there's a bunch of bacteria already in a bunch of scrap yards and whatnot,
they're already eating away metal,
dumps.
Adapting.
Yeah. But I guess, would you say that the benefit to them experimenting and finding this out on their own is that they can create, force it to be more, to even be better at its job, eventually maybe use it for pollution cleanup?
Maybe, yeah, that's what they're saying. Apparently, such bacteria already exist in the wild that help. Bacteria can remove pollutants in waters through the process known as bioremediation. The article mentions reducing the amount of manganese oxide in the same way that humans breathe air. So yeah, they already exist in the wild. Then they already do this without our knowledge. Protecting our environment behind the scenes. The
Earth tries its best.
Yep, the Earth is a magnificent thing, and we're destroying it. Earth-chan is beautiful, and she's not flat.
I mean, it's just one of those things where you realize that if we kind of just hands off Earth for a while, it could definitely recover.
Oh yeah, when we talk about saving the planet and stuff, we're basically talking about saving it for us humans.
From ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, saving it from ourselves.
If humans survived out, the Earth would just rejoice. They would just recover. Within a few decades, things would be much more prosperous than they are with us around. Not to say that we're the parasites or whatever, but the systems we've created are the parasites. We can just fix everything and live in peace. But we gotta do that. There's that. So So yeah, so metal-eating bacteria, it exists and it's a thing, and they're discarded by accident after 100 years. Fascinating. Look at the articles in the description, so go ahead and read it. Moving on, apparently science has finally solved the big mystery on why we get goosebumps. Ooh, reminds me of the opening theme for the Goosebumps show. You know?
I watched that a bunch as a kid.
I know, I did too.
It was very disturbing for a children's show.
It was very disturbing. I did get actual goosebumps watching the show, so there's that. But now we know why we get goosebumps. Apparently, the gist of it is that by the muscle there's a muscle at the end of the hair that gets triggered to cold, and so that reacts to cold, pulling the hair up, and you get the goosebumps. That's why you can see that your the base of the hair.
Yeah, that's the erector pili muscle, right?
I guess there's an image. I forget what they're called. I've forgotten all of that stuff. But the point is, doing that stimulates the stem cells over there and promotes hair growth. Nodular stem cells according to temperature changes outside. So yeah, basically sort of like an adaptation, not adaptation, but an adaptive mechanism for our body to produce more hair to shield ourselves from the cold, from the elements when they trigger element. It kind of makes sense because I mean the research was that was done on mice, and it makes sense because a lot of animals, when the winter comes around, their coat changes, they get more fluff. And I'm not just talking about animals that completely change their coats, but animals that just get more fluffy, like even house cats. It might have something to do with this, I think. And and also maybe if you're going bald, maybe if you just put some liquid nitrogen on your head, maybe that'll fix it. Who knows?
Well, maybe not that cold. I gotta imagine maybe that at that point you might just be damaging those hair follicles.
Put a bag of ice on your bald head. You know,
just go just wait until the winter, and then when it's winter time, just step outside for a few minutes, walk back in. Your neighbors will think you're weird, but you can just say you're trying to grow your hair back.
Yeah, science, harnessing the power of science to like grow hair on your head, or if you just want a beard, put your face out in the cold, or put some ice on it. Maybe that'll work.
Put your face in the fridge.
Yeah, put your face in the fridge and seal it shut. Maybe it'll work out. Okay. Oh yeah, I mean, in that sense, wouldn't like climate change and global warming mean that you're gonna go bald faster? Think about that, So maybe if you protect the world, maybe if you solve climate change, maybe you'll solve balding. Who knows? The last research news we have is about doggos. We had an article about cats, so we thought it'd be just if we covered something about doggos as well. And these particular doggos are called the ghost dogs of the Amazon, and they're called that because they're very elusive, very hard to find. And
they have they're nicknamed as what, like small ear dogs?
Yeah, they're called small ear dogs. And
although there's a researcher that later maybe we should have called them small ball dogs.
Yeah. Because they're
referring to the fact that they don't reach full maturity until the age of, is it 2 or 3?
3.
3.
So these species are pretty interesting, and apparently a bunch of researchers had the opportunity of studying them up close because they saved one such doggo from someone who was trying to domesticate it, which is weird. Don't try to domesticate wild dogs; it doesn't work out. But these guys are pretty cute and friendly, apparently. But if you try to domesticate a dingo, it's probably gonna eat your baby. So just a heads up. But yeah, so they found the dog. They had an opportunity to study it. They couldn't return it to the wild because of some issues with the government. Was it? Right?
Yeah, they had to properly, they couldn't just release it. They had to properly work out,
how to do it.
Government.
Yeah. So they had
And,
opportunity to
and
study.
because of the delays, they happened to notice the male dog they were holding, its balls dropped.
Yeah, the testicles didn't drop until the dog was 3 years old. And for those of you who raise dogs or just familiar with them, that's very long. Like, usually dogs reach maturity at like a year old or something like that. But these guys don't reach maturity until they're 3 or so.
And this is typically not that good for from an evolutionary perspective.
Yeah, because
That means you can't produce young until that age.
Yeah, the researchers
And
say that.
if you're out in the, I'd say, real world, in the actual, in the wildlife, what was it? Something of the, survival of the fittest. If you're out in that environment, usually, waiting a few years before you have children is a bad idea.
Yeah, the researchers are speculating that the reason they're so elusive is because the fact that they take so long to mature. So some of them might be dying before they even reach maturity, so they're unable to reproduce. And I mean, my guess is that the reason they take so long to mature is probably because they don't have any kind of predator. They seem to control the environment that they live in. Not control, but seem to be pretty comfortable. So them taking longer to mature is just fine for them. They probably might even live longer than regular dogs. Who knows? Usually animals that take longer to mature live longer too. Usually. So that could be that. And they seem to be omnivores. There's the photo of it eating a fruit off.
Oh no, I just that one lower picture. I was looking at it again. I'm like, that dog looks a lot like a mink.
Yeah, it looks like a mink.
Interesting.
It also looks cute.
Like the longer neck, the short ears, the face, the snout.
Yeah.
Interesting creature.
No, they're in risk right now because Amazon is being deforested and stuff, which is bad.
Lit on fire, all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. The only threat to these doggos is us humans. So, I mean, not us humans in general, but megacorps trying to profit off of the Amazon, always. So yeah, you gotta save the Amazon at least for these cute doggos. Who knows? Maybe we can domesticate them, and maybe we'll have long-living doggos as pets. Wink. Who knows?
Wink. Yeah.
I mean, we are at the verge of domesticating foxes, right?
We were at the verge of it, but I mean, there's just some instincts you really can't breed out. Even domestic foxes, they still have the instinct to pee on everything and whatnot.
Yeah, that is true. I mean,
given more time, it's possible that they could have maybe domesticated that behavior out of them as well. It's interesting when you consider that if we really want to put the work in, we probably could domesticate almost any animal.
I mean, I've seen domesticated.
It really comes. Yeah, I mean, in the sense that you can completely change their appearance though by taking. You can take parents that have specific traits, whether they're personality traits or appearance traits, and just breed them together over many generations until you get a completely different creature.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we don't do what we did to the pugs and stuff, I think it should be fine. That's just horrible.
That was a disaster. It's horrible. Oh my god, have you ever seen a picture of one of their skulls? It's disturbing.
Yeah, they're not supposed to have ended up like that. They can't breathe properly. It's not just that. A lot of those purebred dogs and cats have a shit ton of health issues because they're not supposed to be like that. In a sense, they are kind of inbred. So, just don't do that. Oh well. Moving on to the next topic, video games. Video game news. Yay. And the first thing we have is, we've missed a lot because we ended up skipping a week of news. But on the 11th of June, we had was it 11th or 12th? I forget. It was that week. We had a huge the Devolver Digital conference, the best of the online conferences. Every time, even last year when COVID wasn't a thing and E3 actually happened, Devolver stole the show because they have the most hilarious and to the point show. It's just entertaining. I'm surprised that like all of these companies with their own show. Sony has their own show, Microsoft has their own show. Like I'm surprised they haven't copied Devolver yet. It's easy. Like they make it look easy anyways. Oh well. The point is, Devolver had their conference. I was waiting it since last year. Last year, their CEO. So for those of you who don't know, in order to compete, like not to compete, but just like how E3 does its own show for games and stuff, how Sony does its own stuff, Devolver started doing their own thing like 2 or 3 years ago, and every episode is just a godsend. It's just wonderful, magnificent, hilarious, messed up thing where it's less about introducing games and them doing whatever the heck they want. In the last episode, what happened, not episode, but the last conference from 2019, what happened is their CEO Nina was converted to a cyborg due to the reasons, and in this year's conference they take that storyline from last year and continue it, and now she's being used as a sort of like a human computer to stream Devolver Direct to people by her vice president or whatever. And it's hilarious. They introduced a bunch of games. They had a lot of funny skits that make fun of the whole video game industry and the craziness that happens within it. A bunch of the game executives turned out to be cannibals and ate each other. Shuhei was there. He was kind of tempted to eat people, but he was in his own room, so he couldn't. So that happened. Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. And at the end of the show, they pulled a fast one by surprising people with this weird thing. They actually made a game off the conference. So the conference itself is in the form of a game. So you can it's free to download on Steam and stuff. You can go download it. And then when you play it, you're basically attending a virtual conference and you can see all the games they have, try out some demos, do some wacky shit. It's pretty hilarious. So go download Devolver Land Expo on Steam and experience this crazy wackiness firsthand. Okay, that's what happened with it, and I'll talk about the games that came out. But you want to add something, Nick? I'm sorry, Crimson.
No, I don't really follow Devolver Digital, so.
Yeah, the point is, all of the other conferences are super duper boring. It's just a bunch of people just straight up reading out of a script. And these are supposed to be real executives, and they just sound artificial as heck. But Devolver, their entire cast, they're not actually Devolver executives. This is supposed to be their CEO, Nina, but she's an actress. And she does a wonderful job just being the CEO of Devolver Digital on the conferences. She slices people up. She just basically... I don't know if I can say this, but murders corporate opponents, things like that. It's crazy. It's a parody of the game industry, basically. So this year in the conference they announced Shadow Warrior 3. It's coming to PC. It looks great. The trailer is amazing. It is way more complicated. I mean, not complicated, but it has way more features than Shadow Warrior 2 and Shadow Warrior 1. Obviously it's a third part. If not, it'd be boring. And you can steal weapons from demons, hit them with it, do all that wacky stuff. I'll just mute it and play it in the background. You can fling around. You can do a lot of stuff. It seems to be running on a brand new engine. I'm thinking it's UE3 or wait, what's the latest version of UE? It's 3, right? Or is it 4? Lost count.
I think we're on 4 right now, but didn't they just do a showcase for 5?
Oh yeah, that's 5, right. So I think this game is running on UE4 then. The assets are pretty high quality. We actually saw some gameplay. That was one of the best things about the Devolver Digital conference. We actually saw some real gameplay for games instead of just random gibberish and cinematic trailers and all that stuff. So there's that. Then we saw this game called Weird Vest, which is a game made by the people behind Dishonored and Prey. But it's supposed to be sorry about that. It's supposed to be RPG/strategy game that takes place in the Wild West. Imagine XCOM, but or Divinity 3. Divinity 2 Original Sin. Probably more closer to Divinity 2 Original Sin, but in the Wild West, with supernatural stuff happening. and all that stuff. As you can see, it looks like that too.
That could be interesting.
It looks very interesting. I mean, it has some real whatchamacallit, big names behind the project, so I'm looking forward to it. Then we had this game called Blightbound. I forget who. Oh yeah, it's from the creators of Awesome Knots, and I think you'll like this, Crimson, because we play a lot of co-op games, and this is basically a co-op RPG, similar to. It looks kind of like Darkest Dungeon. It has that aesthetic, that 2D animated style, as you can see, but it's a co-op game.
Okay.
See, it's not a turn-based.
Yeah, it looks like it could be fun. Like, it looks like there's traps and stuff.
Yeah.
Like puzzles.
There's supposed to be 3 acts, so it's kind of like a traditional ARPG, and you can do some puzzles. You can fight monsters.
So to confirm, it's not a roguelite.
No, it's an actual ARPG.
I feel like the whole roguelite thing got way out of hand. Like, everyone and their mother was trying to make one.
Oh yeah, definitely. It just been
and
over
a lot
the
of them, a lot of people, they didn't understand how to make a roguelite interesting. I mean, compelling in the sense that the game might be good, but then there's no reason to keep playing it because there's no, reward. There's nothing that carries over.
And sometimes, and not sometimes, but a lot of cases, they even take a game that doesn't need to be roguelite and then they make it roguelite, and it feels weird.
Yeah.
That's that. The next game that they announced, not next game, but they also announced Carrion, which is a game where you play as this weird alien science experiment blob thing that goes around eating people. It's wonderful.
I thought this was older news. I remember seeing this.
It's already out. It came out last week on the 23rd of June. Sorry, July. I'm already playing it. It's pretty fun. You tend to get lost a lot as the blob because there's no map. But other than that, it's fun. You linger around, hide in the corners, wait for people to come up, and you eat them, and you grow strong. And you do all those weird. If you ever imagined what it would be like to be Venom or Carnage from the Spider-Man universe, this basically is the game for you. I'm gonna make a video on it this week, so stay tuned. We got more indie games. This is a game called Disc Room. It's basically a not puzzle platformer. What would you call this, Nick? Crimson.
Something to dodge?
Yeah, what genre would this be?
Oh, I'm not sure.
You're basically dodging discs. It's like kind of like Binding of Isaac, but or Super Meat Boy. Like, you're dodging a lot of obstacles and stuff, but the obstacles are just like actual saw blades. And it's being made by the same people behind Minute, so that's gonna be interesting. There was Fall Guys. Oh, I should not play that music. I'm gonna get the video taken down. But Fall Guys is basically, imagine Takeshi's Castle, Ninja Warrior, any of those weird game shows with a lot of people in it, but as a video game. You just get to play a game show with a bunch of people, including your friends. So it looks pretty fun. Shuhei Yoshida was here for announcing this, so it's gonna be on PS4 and PC, I believe, first. It looks fun. I can't wait to play it with a bunch of crazy people. There's Serious Sam 4 coming out on PC and Stadia. This is the only one that's supposed to be a Stadia exclusive. And I feel sad. I feel sad for the people who made this game, because that basically means barely anyone's gonna play it. It's also gonna be on PC later, I believe, but it's gonna come on Stadia first. I don't even know who wants to even play this on Stadia. But yeah, it's a new Serious Sam game for the Serious Sam fans. It kind of looks old. It looks like it's a generation old. It doesn't look like a more newer game, but it still looks way better than the older Serious Sam games. I'm not a big Serious Sam fan. I played a couple of Serious Sam games when I was younger. I was creeped out by them for some reason because I was a wuss back when I was a kid. So yeah, if that's your if you want to play it on Stadia, go ahead, or if you can just wait for it to come on Steam. And then I was actually looking forward for this. They said it was going to be released. They said it was out now during the conference, but it's still not out yet. It's a game called Olija. Seems like an action adventure game. Has a lot of those weird Dark Soul vibes. You're basically, doing side-scrolling action and platforming. It looks very fun, and it's not out yet though. It's on Steam and Switch. So there's that. That was Devolver Digital's conference. It was it was the best conference compared to everything. The Xbox conference also happened, but as we see, pretty boring. Except for the memes. We got a lot of good memes from that. Okay, after Devolver Digital, we have the Xbox Series X showcase event that happened on the 23rd of July. And we did get to see a decent number of games, but the show was overall pretty disappointing because we got barely any gameplay, and a good chunk of the games that they did show were just re-releases. Just a quick rundown: we got Halo Infinite, Fable's coming back, Hellblade 2, which we already knew about, Avowed, which we will get to. That's pretty good. Forza Motorsport, honestly, no one cares. State of Decay 3. State of Decay 2 was basically unplayable, so my only hope for State of Decay 3 is that it's just at least playable. Other than that, I have nothing. Crossfire X, it says it's some kind of weird psychological thriller horror FPS game by Remedy, but honestly, the trailer just made it look like Call of Duty with extra steps. So, Warhammer 40k, it's basically fighting zombies in Warhammer universe. Again, we know nothing except a weird cinematic trailer. Not weird, but it's a decent cinematic trailer, but it basically tells us nothing about the game. Phantasy Star Online 2, which we'll get to, was announced for the next gen. Medium, which is supposed to be this horror game where you jump between two dimensions, or at least play in the normal dimension and this horror dimension, which looks good, but no gameplay. Then there's this new game called The Gunk from the makers of SteamWorld. I like the SteamWorld games. They're pretty fun, and this one looks interesting too, but again, no gameplay. Tetris Effect, it's just Tetris with multiplayer. Stalker 2, a cinematic trailer that basically tells nothing again. Destiny 2 is being re-released on the next gen. Who cares, honestly? Psychonauts 2. We already knew about Psychonauts 2, but this one now, we know that Jack Black's gonna sing in it. But that's neither here or there. It's just Jack Black singing. Good for him. He can sing. Dusk Falls. I don't even remember seeing this in the show. I think they played this in the pre-show. But there's that. Grounded, which is actually out right now. It's basically a survival crafting game, but I
saw it on Steam. It's in early access.
Yeah, the early access is released. It says it's from Obsidian on the GameSpot article, but I'm pretty sure it's not Obsidian. Oh well. It's basically Honey, we shrunk our kids. The kids are shrunk down. Now we have to survive in the backyard by building Lego homes and fighting ants or something. The trailer's fun. I don't know much about the game though.
Oh, I just went to the Steam page. It has a 66% review right now.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good.
Nope.
It is listed as developer being Obsidian Entertainment, with the publishers Xbox Game Studios.
That makes very little sense, considering Obsidian doesn't make crafting games.
Well, that might be the reason for the poor reviews then.
Could be. I mean, that is a cause of concern, because Obsidian got bought by Microsoft. Microsoft might be making them make like weird shitty games. Who knows? But it is Obsidian. They got the caliber, so maybe they'll fix it later on. We just gotta wait and see. We got Outer Worlds coming to the next gen. Also a new DLC chapter that got announced, which is fun. Outer Worlds was a very damn good game. Again, another Obsidian game. They made their own Fallout in space. It's been out since last year, like end of last year, but the DLC will be coming out in September. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. Don't Nod release is gonna release another game. It's called Tell Me Why, where a bunch of twins with some weird psychic abilities are gonna go and explore a cabin in the woods to find out what happened in their past or something. Again, another weird adventure game with a weird protagonist with a bunch of unexplained supernatural powers. What next? We got Everwild, which is a new game by Rare, which looks like you play as some weird druid character looking after animals and stuff. The trailer was pretty nice, but no gameplay. That's basically a common thread that connects all of these things. Basically any gameplay. Square Enix announced a new game in the pre-show, Balan Wonderland. I don't even know. Like, there aren't that many games in the actual show, so I don't know why they put so many shows in the pre-show. I just skipped it. But, yeah. Again, barely any gameplay. Hello Neighbor 2 was announced. I mean, I don't think a lot of people even cared about Hello Neighbor 1 because it had a lot of connectivity issues. So I hope at least this one doesn't have any issues. Echo Generation, Watch Dogs Legion, again a game we already knew was coming out. Exo Mecha, like an FPS mecha game. It looked like it was Call of Duty, but with a bunch of Transformers fighting in the background. I guess it's interesting. We just gotta wait and see. Dragon Quest XI is gonna be coming on to the next gen, which is fine, I guess. But as you can see, most of the games are just re-releases or stuff we already knew. It's not a lot of new news, right? The one thing that people are excited for, from the only thing other than Halo Infinite, I mean, Halo Infinite is just a meme show now. Other thing that people are actually excited for is Avowed. Basically, now that Obsidian was able to get the original creators of Fallout and make their own Fallout game as a FU to Bethesda, they're trying to do it again by making their own Skyrim. It's supposed to be taking place in the Pillars of Eternity universe, but it's
I don't think it's been confirmed, but oh wait, never mind, it has been confirmed. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And fans are already quick to see some connections between the two games. Or the series, I should say.
Yeah, as you can see, it looks pretty much like Skyrim. You got the one hand with the spells and another hand with the weapon, and it looks very polished. It looks very well polished. Unlike Bethesda, they might actually pull this off. This might just be better than Elder Scrolls 6. I wouldn't be surprised if Elder Scrolls 6 comes out and Avowed still looks better than ES6, like a couple of years from now. I mean, because they're still using Gamebryo from a decade ago, while these guys are probably on UE5. We saw a bunch of games that are already being developed on UE5, including Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice 2. So I won't be surprised if this one's also being worked upon UE5.
Bethesda just doesn't care anymore.
Nah, they're a bunch of dum-dums.
They're content just to make a half-assed game and, use their pre-existing reputation to make some sales, and it's basically just profit. They don't care.
They don't give a shit. Then we heard of we saw PSO2 being announced for the next gen on the Xbox Game Show, but turns out PSO2 New Genesis might just be a completely different game. It seems to be a remake or a complete.
It is a separate the two games will coexist side by side. Which is a bit concerning, as anyone who, if you have any knowledge of MMOs, it's kind of concerning that they are. I personally wish that this had just been a sequel or like a rehaul or anything else. Because while the New Genesis, if you look at the trailer, it looks much more beautiful. It looks like a modern. I don't know. It looks like a modern take on the game series. The closest thing I can think of that we've seen, in recent time, it would be Xenoblade Chronicles X. While it looks very pretty and the gameplay looks like it might be fun, if you've played any MMO games and they're saying that they coexist with the old one, then it's kind of concerning Because that might just mean the grind is twice as bad.
Yeah, or they might not have enough resources to focus on one of them at a time. But so far it looks good.
They did say that they're going to also not only they're using their new engine or for this game, but they're actually going to it's not actually. I don't think they're using a new engine.
It is a new engine. It's a completely new engine.
It is a new engine. Okay,
Yep.
but they're actually going to use that new engine with their old game as well for the graphics. So even if you don't want to play the new game and you're already playing PSO2, you can eventually you'll get this overhaul even on the old game, and it'll look much prettier.
Yeah.
They have not one of the big sales, one of the big things that people really do, with as with any MMO, is the end game glamour. In PSO2, you can use premium currency to buy costumes and stuff. And while they've confirmed that that you might see right there for a second, AC and SG, the premium currencies are going to be transferable, they have not yet confirmed that any of the cosmetics will transfer. Your character, your character design will transfer, but
your save file will, but not your assets. Like your currency and stuff.
Yeah, your character, profile will transfer over, but not your levels or your classes or anything, but just your appearance. But the issue is that many PSO2 players have already spent probably hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the game on cosmetics alone. So if they don't, while it's going to be a lot of effort, if they don't bring over those cosmetics into the new game, I can imagine a lot of their pre-existing base probably won't even want to switch.
No, I mean, I'm just guessing it's probably going to be more focused on a console experience versus the other PSO2. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it seems like their Microsoft is working much more hands-on with Sega this time around.
Yep.
So, although speaking of Microsoft, I mean, the thing that people hate about the whole Microsoft collab, though, is that while it did bring the game over, the Microsoft Store sucks ass.
The really Windows Store. I mean,
the Windows Store is terrible.
Yeah, they're letting you buy games from the Xbox Game Store now, which is much better. They have a shopping cart, unlike Epic. But the Windows Store is just horrible.
Yeah, the reason why I bring up the Windows Store is actually, while we're on the topic of PSO2, PSO2 is actually coming to Steam August 5th, which was announced earlier this day.
Oh yeah, it's just basically a week or two from now.
Yeah, next week actually, I think.
Yeah.
Which, that might... So if you want to play PSO2, but you didn't want to go through the hassle of using the Microsoft Store, which is known to just delete your entire game after an update, you can use Steam.
I mean, considering the fact that they're pushing the Game Pass so much and the Xbox Game Bar and the Game Store and whatnot, Microsoft might be moving away from their stupid decision of pushing Windows Store for like selling games. No one wants that.
Really hope so. We can only hope.
Yep.
Okay.
Moving on, Tencent might be buying Digital Extremes, and an update, they're definitely buying Digital Extremes, so rip Warframe. Yep. I mean, I have a lot of issues with Warframe. I think it's still way too grindy. I know people played for the grind, but honestly, I've been there since the closed beta, and the game could have done a lot better than it did. And even then, they're a good developer. They're much fairer than some other people like Riot Games. But now that they're being bought by Tencent, that's a huge red flag. Tencent owns too many games. Big monopoly.
Tencent is hated by everyone.
Yeah.
The West hates them. The East hates them.
Yeah. I mean, my Chinese friends hated way more than my American friends, because Tencent owns way more than just video games, and they do a lot of shitty stuff. And because they have such a monopoly, they can just push bad business practices onto the customers, and they can get away with it. I mean, look at EA, and in many ways, they might be worse than EA because they're bigger than them. They have the potential to do more harm than EA. Probably already have. Who knows? They already own Path of Exiles to a good extent, which is concerning. They own Epic Games to a good extent, which is also concerning. they have their fingers in too many pies, and if only there were good antitrust regulations to break down such giant corporations, we would all be happy. But nope. So that happened. And then,
although speaking of Epic, just weekly reminder, take the free games. They are free. So
yeah, take their free games. Take them.
Use their shitty shopping system and get those free games.
They might not have a shopping cart, but they have free games. I would like them to spend the money on having a shopping cart first, but oh well. If that is how they want to roll, that is how they want to roll. All right, we have an update on the whole Smash Brothers fiasco that happened not so long ago. You're aware of that, right, Crimson?
Yeah, I saw this briefly.
Yeah, but the gist of it is the Smash Brothers community has a bunch of predators in it, preying on children and stuff. And unfortunately, it looks like our boy Sky Williams might have been involved with it to an extent. And now allegations are implying that he probably lied about his father's cancer and owes people upwards of $350K. And some of the people he owes money to include LS, a popular League of Legends coach. So it looks like it's actually true, and Sky did actually admit that he does owe a shit ton of money to the IRS and a bunch of people, and he looks like he spent the money on stupid things like his weird Sky mansion, renting it out to people and whatnot. So there's that, and he said he's going to release a whole document.
You kind of have to be scum to take money from people, lie about it so you can go out and party and have fun and whatnot. That's pretty scummy.
He said he's going to release an entire Google document to tell people what actually happened or whatever. But by itself, from the information we have right now, it looks pretty horrible. And I don't understand, like, some of these YouTubers get it lucky. I mean, me and Crimson are poor as fuck. We have a master's degree and we do research and stuff. But I mean, I used to work in a lab. But Crimson still works in the lab, and we get paid in...
I recently finished my job.
Oh, you finished your job too, Rip?
Yeah, I'm in between the moment.
Yeah, the gist of it is we get paid in lint and used bubblegum. So...
Yeah, so it's just mind-boggling how people, they get these opportunities and they just waste them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you let the money get to your head. You know? I mean, there was research saying that the more rich and powerful you get, the part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex responsible for empathy and stuff, gets corroded because you don't use that part. So maybe that's what's happening to these people, these powerful people getting drunk on. I mean, there is a saying that it's not the power that's corrupting them. They were already like that and just revealing who they were really. But I think it's both.
I think it's a bit both, yeah. Because while I do imagine that you have to be, a lot of the people who are successful are probably slightly, a little bit sociopathic, but
yeah,
I do think that a lot of good people can be corrupted. Because when you become powerful enough, all the morals that you were raised on might not I can't not see how these people form these sociopathic, tendencies over time when they come into wealth and power.
I mean, I think it's
we live in a society.
We live in a society.
We live in a society where there are systems in place that benefit those with wealth and power. So when you come into it, you're gonna, you gain that privilege. You gain new status. And the old, morals and laws that you were raised on don't apply to you anymore. It's that simple.
I just had to pull it up.
So, yeah, I
mean, yeah. So if you have an opportunity and if you're rich, don't fucking ruin it.
It's the systems that that favor those with wealth and power.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to add two
like
things.
Gods.
Kingdom. Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, so the thing is, first of all, it's not just we often hear about how these people misuse their power, but even there are a lot of other people, other popular YouTubers and celebrities and stuff who have a lot of power, a lot of money, but they might not use it for anything bad, but they don't definitely use it for anything good either. Just sit on it. They have an opportunity to make a difference, and they don't.
I mean, at the very least, they could make some good anime.
Yeah, at the very least, you can make good anime, or like take part in like some weird project, like.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is that you hear of celebrities that just have millions of dollars in wealth. It's like, what are you doing with that? Just donate it, to something.
Yeah, they're just like weird, crazy dragons sitting on their hoard. Like, do something fun, do something interesting. It doesn't have to be charity or actually helping people. Do fucking something.
Fun a movie, fun the game. I don't know, do something.
Yeah,
with them.
I mean, we saw like who's the guy who wrote the Game of Thrones books, Song of Ice and Fire. George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin's actually moving over to video games. Not moving over, but he's He's writing the next Dark Souls game, Elden Ring, which is amazing. We have Kojima working with Junji Ito on making a horror game, probably, which is good. There are a bunch of things you can do with your crazy ass money. You don't have to just sit on it or be an asshole like Elon. You can do other stuff too, which you don't hear a lot about, but you can do it. And if you have an opportunity, don't screw it up and like end up like people like Sky or someone. It's just sad. Don't do that. Next thing we have is news from Overwatch. So Overwatch has a news spray, and they got rid of it and replaced it with Horseshoe. It's called Bad Luck.
Yeah, why have a news in the first place?
For those who don't know what a spray is, in Overwatch, they're basically emotes you can paint on walls and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, anyone with an inkling of common sense would realize that maybe a noose isn't a good idea.
Nah, I mean, yeah, like
it has a very poor reputation in American society, due to our history with with racism.
Yeah, and slavery and lynching and all that stuff. But the thing is, even before the Black Lives Matter protests and all of these things happened, this existed since a long time. And the question is, why the heck did they even decide to put a noose in it in the first place?
Well, that's what I was saying. It should never even happen.
No, and then they replaced it with a horseshoe, which is fine. And they didn't even talk about it. Apparently, it's not even mentioned in the patch notes. It's just like, oopsie daisy, we better do this before we get in fire. I mean,
well,
that's
if they
how
put in the patch
works.
notes, that would exist somewhere on the internet. That they're admitting fault.
Yeah. But that's what Blizzard does. They just do these non-apologies after they mess up. Well, at least it's gone now. So there's that.
That's good.
Good for them. Then we have some news from Ubisoft. If you guys don't know what's happening with Ubisoft is involved with a shit ton of allegations of like sexual harassment, including drugging their employees, mistreating their employees, and all that stuff. It's a whole plethora of screw ups. It's a huge kerfuffle. Jim Sterling did a very good video on what's happening with Ubisoft, I think last week, on one of his as part of one of his Jimquisitions. You guys can go check it out. But we have news from that, and apparently, according to the news, they're saying that for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the main character was actually Cassandra. The canon character was Cassandra, and the executives were like, no, female protagonist bad. You gotta have a male protagonist too. And then
women scare me.
Yeah, and then they dumped in Alexios. And that apparently messed up the production schedule. And it wasn't just that. I mean, Odyssey gets a lot of... it's kind of overrated, in my opinion, because it gets a lot of praise for all the good stuff they did, but they never get talk. People don't talk much about the microtransactions and other bullshit that Odyssey has. Odyssey has a lot of paid boosters and all that stuff that you can do. It's quote unquote optional, but the very fact that they have them, even Odyssey and the one before that, the Egypt one, whatever that one was, Origins, had those too. So yeah, just Ubisoft is a shitty company, just like EA, and the executives are the one to blame, not the developers themselves, because they don't have any power. So that was that. You want to add anything?
No, this is just all too common patterns with these bigger game companies.
Yeah, the executive who was apparently responsible for it, Sergei Haskowit, I think it was their vice president or chief of design or whatever, creative head or something. I forget the role that he had, but he was fired. recently, and he was also responsible for apparently changing up stuff in Assassin's Creed Unity. Where the split between the twins, in Unity you play as a male and a female assassin twin, and originally apparently the split was 50-50, and then the guy was like, no, and people don't want to play as a female, and then it changed it to 40-60 according to the article. And yeah, this is
I wonder hearing that, I wonder if if the executives were like, lower the interest on the female twin. We don't want her in this game, but we'll promise you the next game will have a female protagonist. Time passes.
Nothing happens. Yeah, it's basically that.
Forget. You know what you're saying about there being a female protagonist? Yeah, no, that's off the books now.
Yeah, there are a bunch of crazy people on Reddit and stuff who get offended by these things. Like, oh no, there's a girl in my game. I cry, mommy.
Q Last of Us 2, yeah.
Yeah, and their argument is that, we've solved all of these issues, misogyny and sexism and all that jazz never happens.
We did it. We solved sexism.
Yeah, we solved sexism, Kowalski. It's over. We have a female character in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but the thing is, behind the scenes, a lot happens, and like the executive who was fired, apparently he was passing, he was very misogynist, and it would even give people like brownies laced with the weed and stuff, and abuse them and harass them and stuff. So toxic culture, toxic behavior and stuff is still rampant, especially in the upper echelons. And we need to call it out when possible, and not just call it out because like the game sucks or whatever. I think I'm being a bit flimsy, but you get the point. So there's that. Yeah, so Cassandra's canon. Then Final Fantasy 14. You want to take it? You play more Final Fantasy 14.
Alright, I mean, Final Fantasy 14, if you don't know, is a free-to-play... Well, it's a subscription-based MMO. It's been running for several years now, after its reboot. The initial game, back in the day was pretty bad, and they rebooted it. And since then, it's been running pretty well. Yeah, the retcon was amazing. They essentially they literally in universe explained that, everything that happened in the original game, it burned down.
Yeah, there was a magic nuke. And reset everything. No one died, but there was a magic nuke.
So this has been running for quite a while, and due to the reboot, we'll get to this in a second. Anyways, it's been running for quite a while, and it's one of the more popular things. It won, I think it won some kind of awards with its latest expansion, Shadowbringers, and Shadowbringers would be the third expansion. And up until now, the free-to-play test, model was that you only could level your classes up to level 35 out of what is currently level 80, and you only could play up to the end of the main story. You didn't get access to any of the expansions. But with this update coming in the next patch, a couple things will be happening. One, the free trial will be much larger in scope. You'll get to play up to level 50, I think. And you'll get to play through the entirety of the first expansion, which many fans within the fan base for Final Fantasy XIV would agree that it's one of the better, if not the best, expansions so far.
Do you have to pay the subscription fee though?
No, you wouldn't have to pay a subscription fee to get to play through that entire first expansion.
Oh yeah, so it's actually free.
And one thing that a lot of players have complained about is that Final Fantasy XIV is very hard to get into. There are a lot of it was that era where fetch quests were really, really bad, and with the new expansion, they're also going to be either they're revising some of their old ARR, which is the just the base game. They're going to be essentially revising it and taking out a lot of the needless grind. It's a pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting because essentially this grind all
would even do that.
Well, all right. So if you scroll down later in the article, they actually explain they had this this arbitrary 9-minute rule for all their old main story quests for the basic game ARR, A Realm Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was right up there. They had this 9-minute rule where they did, that they put in place because they wanted the game to feel long in order to compensate for the lack of resources when they had to reboot the game. But, if you're a new player, this was the best time to get in because you can play the entirety of Final Fantasy XIV's base game, A Realm Reborn, plus one of the best expansions so far, without the hassle of that a lot of fans up until now have had to deal with. So it's a pretty good time to try out the game.
Yep. And you don't have to pay the subscription fee and stuff, so that's a combo. It says that over here it can cost you upwards of almost $100 if you just want to get the base game and the expansion and the subscription fee for the first month if you want to play it, but now it's completely free, so you can go check it out. My favorite thing about the game was I could go around emoting people and they gave me money randomly for no reason.
Yeah, you can just run around as a cat girl.
Yeah, I was running around as a cat girl and they gave me like,
and a lot of people are horny and they'll try to give you money and stuff to
randomly.
Yeah.
I mean a bunch of people who gave me money were girls.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's guys and girls.
Probably. They gave me $300K just for running around emoting.
Yeah.
As a black mage.
I mean, well, the thing is, there's really nothing to spend money on late game, so...
Yeah, they were just like...
There's nothing better to do than throw it at
dance,
new players.
monkey, dance! Alright, the next section we got is the game releases for upcoming game releases and as well as game releases that happened in the last week or so. So we had Carrion come out on the 23rd of June. It's the game from Devolver Digital that we talked about in the Devolver Digital segment. It's a game where you play as this weird alien biomonster thing. It's just eating up researchers and stuff. If you ever wonder what a game would be like where you play as Venom or Carnage from the Spider-Man universe, this is basically that. I'm playing it right now. It's pretty fun. You kind of get lost a lot in the dungeons, not in the dungeons, but in the tunnels. But other than that, it's pretty fun. You should check it out. It's pretty cool. The trailer's pretty nice too. Then we have Paper Mario: The Origami King, $60, available right now. I mean, it came out on the 17th of July, and it's only on Switch. Of course, it's a Mario game. What else it's gonna be on, right? Have you tried this or what?
Me? No. I never played any of the original Paper Marios.
I have, I think, one of the older Paper Marios. I've not played it yet.
They looked very fun, At the time, they were a very innovative take on the Mario formula.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting. My brother wants to try it out. Maybe I'll try it out too when he gets it. But it's out now on Nintendo Switch. Next, we have Destroy All Humans, and that should be coming out today. I think it's already released today. I have it. I need to download it. But yeah, it's basically a remake of the original Destroy All Humans game, like a complete remake, not a remastered version. You play as an alien that's abducting people and probing them and doing all that stuff, stealing cows. And if that's what you're interested in, you can try it out. I don't know how the game is still. It looks fun though. The original, I played the original, and I liked it back in the day. So yeah, that's out. Then there's a Fairy Tail turn-based RPG coming out soon. I didn't even know about it until I was like looking up stuff for the show. It's coming out on PS4, Switch, and PC on the 31st of July. That's like 2 days from now. I thought it was gonna be like those weird action RPGs that they make, what Bandai Namco makes for like their shonen series, like One Piece.
Yeah, and stuff. You would think it would have been just one of those stupid, what do you call it, PvP games that they usually make.
But it's not that. It's actually a turn-based RPG where you get to play.
The developer for this is Gust, right? And they make the, for example, they make the recent Atelier Ryza game. So it's not too surprising. Actually, not you're showing a tiny bit of the game. It looks exactly like the Atelier games.
Yeah, the gameplay doesn't look bad. It looks detailed enough. But here's the funny part, okay? Like it looks like it's straight out of Persona 5. Like,
well, as I said, as if you've ever played the Atelier games, now that I'm actually looking at this, the whole like enemies on a grid and you attack them, that's exactly from. It looks like they literally just took their Atelier game formula and slapped on Fairy Tail paint.
Yeah, Man. I mean, the textures kind of look horrible in the background, but I mean, we got to see how the game's gonna be when it comes out.
What consoles is this on? Because maybe is it only
PS4,
or?
Nintendo Switch, PC.
Okay, yeah. If it's gonna be on Switch, that would explain the the 4.
Oh yeah, probably.
Textures, yeah, that would explain the that would explain
I never
the
understood having low quality textures in games because they probably made the high quality assets anyways, and then de-rest it to like put it in the game. So why not just release a high quality texture pack, right?
Yeah, you would think so.
But oh well. Deadly Premonition 2 came out on the 10th of July. And the memes are like, there are a shit ton of meme videos about how cringy the game is. And it's kind of, I think it's more cringy than the original Deadly Premonition one, the original Deadly Premonition. And it also has a bunch of issues, but it's Deadly Premonition. It's still funny to play because, I mean, you know, I don't know how to describe it. It's good. It's bad, but also good, sort of. Have you played the original Deadly Premonition?
No, I didn't even know that this was a game. So
yeah, it's kind of a weird game.
From the repercussions.
You can check out reviews of it and stuff. I would describe it as like Room the game, but I'm being too mean. I think I'm being too mean. I'm sorry, Deadly Premonition fans, but yeah, it's kind of cringy, but it's out. Then Ghost of Tsushima came out on the 17th of July. I still haven't played it because my brother's finishing it, so I'm waiting for him to finish it so that I can play it. But it's out, and it has wonderful
you gotta save
reviews.
money where you can.
Yeah, it has wonderful reviews, and it seems to be a fun game.
Rooftop I climbed onto with.
Oopsie.
What was the developer for this?
It's Insomniac. I believe it was Insomniac, right?
And they are
the people who made Infamous.
Okay.
I think it was Insomniac. Is it Insomniac? Oh man, I forget.
So how does the game play? Is it Dark Souls-y or?
Sucker Punch. Sorry, it's Sucker Punch. Developed by
Okay.
Sucker Punch and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, only on PS4 right now. So yeah, it's kind of more like Sekiro, sort of.
All right, so it's very similar. Yeah, I mean, I think I saw the trailer once. And it just seemed poor timing, I guess, because everyone knows Sekiro now. But, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's good. Maybe it worked out in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same genre though. This is supposed to be an open world adventure RPG. I mean, Sekiro is kind of like that too, but it doesn't have that. It's more focused on exploration and stealth, unlike Sekiro, which is like a traditional Souls-like game. It's not about dying and reviving and stuff. Yeah. This is like what Assassin's Creed should be, you know, but isn't, because it's like you can write haikus, you can chase foxes through grass and stuff. You know, it's pretty fun. I've seen my brother play it. It looks amazing. The graphics and the visuals are just breathtaking. So yeah, it is getting a shit ton of praise. And the user score is, I think, higher than the critic score. So there's that. But yeah, those are the game releases for this month and, you know, upcoming week. What else we got? Next, moving on to some tech news. Kioxia, it is Kioxia, right? Yeah, it is Kioxia. Kioxia is talking about releasing a new type of SSDs. For those of you who don't know how these things are made, they basically take a giant cylinder of silicon and then they cut it up into wafers and then they etch the required, I don't know how to put it. Basically, they make it out of the wafer. They etch it on the wafer, and then they cut it into tiny pieces, and then they make individual SSDs or processor or whatever you want to make, and then they sell it. But Kioxia is like, what if we just like make the SSD out of the entire wafer, and then, you know, sell it to server stations and stuff, because it's cheaper and sort of easier to do, kind of. So it might have bigger performance. They're looking at SSDs that might be up to like 50 terabyte or something. Yeah, so there's that. So if you want to look at like giant super giant SSDs in the future. They might be coming sooner than you expected, if you did expect that. I don't know who would expect that. Do you think anything about this?
I'm not familiar with these things.
I mean, just think of a giant donut-shaped SSD. That might be a thing.
Would that even fit in a normal person's
No,
computer?
these are for only server stations and stuff.
Yeah.
They need a lot of storage anyways. I mean, I wouldn't be
Hopefully
surprised if
costs
a bunch
something,
of
their costs
YouTubers
down.
buy them just for the shits and giggles. Look, I have a giant SSD. I mean, it's kind of funny that you can make something like that. But yeah, AMD stocks go over Intel's. AMD's been doing pretty well right now, and their share price is higher than Intel's share price right now, which is pretty good for AMD. But then again, Intel just keeps shooting itself in the foot with all of its plethora of issues like Spectre, Meltdown, all of the security stuff. And they still have problems with their processing node. Right now, they're still stuck in 10 nanometers, and AMD's already at 7 nanometers, and it looks like Intel might not hit 7 nanometers until 2022 or 2023, and by that time, AMD's gonna be at 5 nanometers. So Intel's lagging behind. They got pretty complacent, and now they're paying the price. And good for AMD, I guess. More competition, better products for us. The next gen's gonna come out soon, so it's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I mean, both the PS5 and Xbox Series X are gonna have AMD processors on them.
Well, and that should be a pretty good wake-up call.
Yeah, they had this. Even last gen was using AMD processors. I think even the Switch has a AMD processor on it.
Oh, actually, yeah, I think you're right. Oh well.
Rip Intel, rip Nvidia, I guess. Don't be complacent. And then the last of then some entertainment news. Bunch of movies got pushed back because of COVID-19. Bunch of Disney movies got pushed back, including Avatar and Star Wars and stuff. They got pushed back by a decent amount. There's a whole list of the movies that got pushed back, including Mulan. Mulan's date has been just canceled. We don't know when it's gonna come out.
Yeah. So the thing is, with the COVID, the pandemic and everything, for a little while longer, we're probably going to still see like new shows pop up on streaming sites. Anything that was already done with production and is just currently doing post production.
Mm-hmm.
But there is going to definitely be this like long period, maybe like 5 or 6 months from now,
of a drought of content.
There's just going to be a drought.
I guess we can still keep watching anime, right? Hopefully.
Well, because that's not produced here in the U.S. So.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is that's another thing you're probably gonna start seeing is you're just gonna probably start seeing people recording, filming and recording, outside the U.S. and basically just movies won't be produced nor shown in the U.S. anytime soon.
Yeah, because they don't take enough precautions to fight the pandemic. There's that.
Yep.
Rip. And one of the interesting things is the number of Avatar movies that got pushed out. Who even cares about Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5? No one cares.
I think at this point it's just James Cameron's own little vendetta. He just wants to do these now.
Yeah. The second one's all of them are basically pushed out by a year. They're already like pretty far away, and now they're farther away. And honestly, I don't think anybody cares. I don't know if anybody has any hype for Avatar 5 coming out in 2028 December.
Oh man, how many? That will have been. When did the first Avatar come out? Like
10 years
more
ago,
than 10
almost.
years ago. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Wow.
It take 20 years to make the fifth one. Wonderful. Or 12 years to make the second one, which is pretty bad.
But then again, this is Disney, so maybe they're thinking that the Star Wars effect will kick in.
And who even cares? The original didn't even have any sequel potential. It's kind of dumb. I bet it's gonna end up like Alien, but that's recent.
The thing is, I would hope that if they're making a sequel, it wouldn't really feature the main characters of the first movie, and it would just be kind of like a different planet that's being terraformed or explored or whatever. That would be the smart decision, to just completely discard the first planet and take similar themes. A spiritual sequel would be the best way to go with it, but
Yep.
we'll see.
We'll see. Moving on to the next category, we got some funny, whatchamacallit, quick Kickstarter projects and some other stuff to talk about.
Indiegogo, right?
Yeah, Indiegogo. Sorry, not Kickstarter. First, we have this weird project which raised up to 2.5 million Australian dollars. It was showing me in US dollars last night, but over Australian dollars. And it's just like a cable that can convert to other cables. Where's that video? It basically has 2 ports on each side for USB-C, USB, and USB on one side, and USB Type-C and dual, as in like lightning and stuff on the other side, which is, I guess, interesting, but it's so short, so the practical use of this is like very low. You know what I mean? I think they even have a longer version of the cable. Yeah, there's the longer version. The longer version looks more useful.
Practical, yeah.
Yeah, but the shorter one is just like, why? But oh well, this is actually not that bad, all things considered. It's just a weird, I hope it works. I don't know what the technicality behind like having all of these things combined together would be. I guess it could be a proper charger, but I wonder if it can even transfer data. Oh well, there's that. Then this is actually kind of funny. There's this carbon steel pan project that's going on that raised $4.5 million, and they advertise that they're carbon steel, that they're non-stick and stuff. It's an actual working product, but they're just using stainless steel. Want to add anything?
If you use fancy enough words, you can convince people to buy anything.
Yeah. So yeah, this thing is just normal stainless steel. It's nothing else than that. Oh, look, it's non-stick. It doesn't have to use chemicals and stuff. Yeah, it doesn't. It's just normal steel. At least it's a working product.
That, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If it's just something as simple as stainless steel, then compared to other kickstarted projects, there might actually be a good chance of actually receiving the product then.
Yeah, they're probably gonna receive it, definitely. These two are a bit gimmicky, but at least they work, all things considered. Last episode, there was this thing called a fat iron. It's just a weird LED iron thing that potentially burns your fat away and raised like almost $2 million. That was weird. That thing's definitely not gonna work. LEDs can't make you thin. Trust me. I have a shit ton of LEDs on my desk. I would have been.
And you're fat.
Yeah.
Hey, that's where you're going with that, right?
Yes.
It's not me saying that. That's you saying it.
Yeah, that's true. And then like the next thing we're gonna talk about is like Omen, HP Omen, their HP's brand of gaming products. They've been releasing like these hilarious ads about gamers. Our stuff isn't even monetized, so I think we can even play it, right?
Humans.
Yeah, we're not planning to make. Well, the only concern would be a copyright strike from them. But
yeah, I think I can just let them have the money if this makes any money.
To ensure a better future for mankind.
These trailers are amazing.
This is an amazing trailer.
Because I saw this when I was watching a TV show on Hulu, and it just starts going on about how gamers are superior and they have superior DNA. Donate your DNA.
He's making us a perfecto baby, a little gamer baby.
I literally was like, Dad, look at this, and
you showed it to your dad.
He gets interested in it, and we're like, what the hell is this even for? Oh, for like a desktop and laptop.
Oh, you need powerful swims to have a laptop? What?
It works.
They even made a newer one.
Have next to no chance of succeeding in
where
life.
it's supposed to be a rehabilitation center for non-gamers.
Welcome
to
Bright
normies.
Dimensions.
A top-of-the-range facility equipped with top-of-the-line gaming equipment where ineffective non-gamers
send your,
like you
gotta send your
folks and
here.
rehabilitation actually become.
So send your normie friends and family members over here. It's like
I would know. I was also a patient here. If I can
it's
do
like
it,
the X-Mansion,
you can too.
but for normies.
At Bright Dimensions, our professional staff will create a personalized plan so you can overcome your virtual fears.
If only places
Yeah.
like that were real. I think
So
the
soon,
world would be
you'll be ready
a
to
nicer
get back
place.
out into the world.
I mean,
and
I need a
start
place like that
contributing.
to treat like anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers. It's okay. The mask won't hurt you.
Put me on the leaderboard of life.
So hurry and book your place today. It's not too late for you to become peak
I really
humanity.
wish,
Transcend
Rip.
humanity.
There are times when I wish I was in the same city as you, so I could, so we could just make stupid
Oh my
videos like
god,
this.
yeah. These are just wonderful. I know it's a giant corporation trying to manipulate you and all that stuff, but you gotta hand it to them, you know? Sometimes a broken clock strikes the right time. Yeah, strikes right twice or something, right?
Yeah, even a broken clock
Yep.
strikes twice.
So there's that. Yeah, the sad thing about these videos is that they don't actually have a lot of views. Like, they don't actually have a lot of views. So yeah, go support it. You know, go watch it and increase the views and stuff. That's something, right? It's only 5,500 views. Considering the amount of effort they put, they need more views.
It's actually a little
Yeah,
bit
so the
sad.
trailer's in the link. Go in the description below. So go share it like wildfire and make more people watch it. Next we have. Oh wait, that's not it. Oh yeah, this is it. There was an article from BBC claiming that drunk people can't practice social distancing, and that was kind of like.
Really now? I would never have
This
guessed.
is like someone actually spent time to do like this research and then write this article. It's like, was there never doubt that like drunk people can follow anything? They're goddamn drunk. You think they're gonna bother social distancing and stuff? Of course not. I mean, I thought this was an Onion article.
When you're drunk, you don't even. When you're drunk, you might not even be paying. You're not really even paying attention to anything, so you're not even going to notice if you're next to other people.
I thought this was an Onion article, but it's not. It's an actual thing that happened.
I mean, we found this on Reddit, and people were having a
they
day
were
with
having
it.
fun.
I think it was actually on r/not the Onion.
It's dumb. I mean, it's still like higher quality journalism than what we usually see from these sites, so there's that. It's true, right?
Hey, at least it's true. Yeah.
And now we are gonna move to the last section of the show. Some very sad news. I mean, we did cover a decent amount of weird, sad news, but these are involving, the passings of some big-time YouTubers and celebrities that we knew. So let's just
A quick obituary, if you might.
So this last week, July 21st, we lost Michael Brooks. For those of you who don't know, Michael Brooks is a big-time lefty talk show, not talk show, but like whatchamacallit, YouTuber. He covers like news pieces and does coverage on politics and stuff. He's a very good he was a very cool guy. Very funny. They did amazing impressions of like a lot of politicians and celebrities and all that stuff. Unfortunately, he passed away due to some unforeseen circumstances, like some pre-existing medical condition. Looks like a heart attack or a stroke or something. I think it was a blood clot. So yeah, that happened. Yeah, it was pretty young. He was only 37, and he had big plans. And I learned a lot from his show, and it's sad to, see that someone like that passed away.
It is always sad, yeah.
We also lost Grant Imahara from one of the hosts of Mythbusters. Again, he had a similar. It looks like he was much older. He was a bit older, 49, but these guys weren't that old. They weren't in the risk category. Seems to have had a similar issue, some blood clot and then an aneurysm. It seems like, and it's.
Yeah, and learning, and from what as we covered earlier, with COVID, people are finding out that it leaves lasting damage in your body,
And can cause
especially
blood clots.
cardiovascular damage. So there's a chance, a little bit of speculation that this could
Grant
relate
was
to
also a
COVID.
very cool guy. He came off as very nice, just like Michael Brooks, and he has a shit ton of
He
YouTube
was
videos.
probably my favorite Mythbuster.
Yeah, he was my favorite Mythbuster too. It's pretty sad to see him, not pass on in Minecraft. But there's that. I mean, this is our speculation, but considering the recent reports that COVID-19 can cause blood clots and stuff, we don't know, but there might be a connection between COVID-19 and these two big-time YouTubers, and celebrities passing on. Who knows? But it's also very sad to see this. I don't even know what to say. We're just talking about these just so that people know, because I've seen a lot of people not know that.
I didn't know about Grant until
the show. Yeah.
you told me earlier.
Oh well, there's that. The other, it wasn't just them. Twitch streamer Ohlana, she's a big time Twitch streamer. She has over 100,000 followers on Twitch. She plays CS:GO and stuff. She also passed away. She's even younger than Brooks and Grant. And in her case, it was suicide, which is very sad to see. She seems to be suffering from depression, and she no more, unfortunately. Even we had something similar happen to Rekful. Rekful was very famous Twitch streamer. I used to watch his videos, try to explain how insanely wealthy some people are to normal people, just to give the idea of what $1 billion looks like and stuff. He was pretty funny, and he was a nice dude, but depression and stuff, and he took his life, unfortunately. It just sucks. It's horrible. The CEO of MSI also passed away at 56 this month, and his circumstances were even stranger because he fell off.
Yeah, but
this was confusing. He fell off the seventh floor of building in Taipei, Zhong district. So we don't know what happened exactly, if it was a homicide or if it was suicide. We have no idea. But again, apparently he was also very well respected, and it sucks. It really sucks. And we would like to just tell people, if you have any kind of depression, if you're dealing with depression, anxiety, or some other mental illness or physical illness, please go to I know it can't be always affordable. It's not always easy to get help, but to whatever extent you can, try to reach out and get help. There are a lot of mental health hotlines and even other charities and programs that try to provide health care for people that need it and stuff. So please get the help that you need. It really can change your life. You want to add anything?
Nope.
It just sucks. It's just horrible. This year has been really bad. This year has been horrible for everybody. And it only keeps getting worse. So just hang on in there. Try to get the help you need. I think the mental health crisis has become more of an issue this year because people just staying indoors, unable to see their family and friends. So there's that, right? And friends and family dying from the pandemic. That's not fun either.
Yeah, the isolation might be part of the reason for some of this depression that you're saying.
And this is kind of digressing, but this is why we need healthcare and stuff to be right? These things should be free and available for everybody. If you have proper healthcare, you can actually get regular checkups and treated for illnesses before they happen, right? And if you're suffering from mental illnesses, you can get treated for them and get the help you need. Usually the help you need for mental illnesses is counseling and stuff, which can be pretty expensive and can't be afforded by normal people. And countries like America, they don't have healthcare is very expensive. And we need like single payer systems or completely nationalized healthcare like Canada and UK, and they really do change things for people, right? So there's that. We're gonna end the show on a sad note. But if you need any help, healthcare, mentally, I'm gonna try to post some links in the description and try to get some help. And take care of yourself. Everything's pretty bad right now, and just hang in there. You want to add anything, Crimson?
Nothing. I can't really say much more on this topic. Just use the resources you have. If family is what you need, seek out your family.
Yep.
If your family is your trouble, friends and so forth, until
do what you can.
Just try to find.
It's difficult. It's not gonna be easy, but do what you can, and stay strong. And we're gonna end the show on that one sad note. And good luck. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Stay indoors. If you need help, contact a hospital or whatever. And just hang in there. It's probably, things are gonna stay tough for a while. So, keep on keeping on. That's all we can do, keep moving forward. See you later on the next episode.